Now let's hear from the reps who are tuning in with members across the country
in cities like Chicago,
Philly,
Los Angeles,
Atlanta, Georgia,
Nashville,
Washington, D.C.,
San Francisco,
Memphis,
Pacific Northwest,
New York,
Austin,
everywhere in the world.
and right here in Miami.
If you're here with us in person, we hope you've been having an amazing time networking and enjoying all of our photo ops.
and if you're watching the live stream right now, we didn't forget about you.
We have a digital program book so you can learn all about our panelists and follow along today.
we even made these virtual badges just for you.
Don't forget to share your experience and tag us at GRAMMY U and use our hashtag GRAMMY U Conference.
All right, everyone, we hope you're ready because the GRAMMY U Conference is starting now.
please welcome the Director of GRAMMY U, Jesse Allen.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Miami, Florida for the 2023 GRAMMY U Conference. Woo! All right, well, first, we have to start with a huge round of applause with all of the GRAMMY U reps, the ones you just saw. Please let them hear it in the back. Let them hear it at home. Please give it a round of applause. They worked so hard to make today possible for you. They have worked for months coming up with ideas and just trying to think of every little piece. So they are your peers. They are here for you, and they wanted to make sure this was authentic and amazing and just the coolest, most incredible day that you could have. So thank you, reps, for everything. Before we start, I also want to thank Nike, of course. Thank you so much, Nike. Woo-woo! Yep. Nike took our dreams. This conference has come through some iterations. It's very emotional for me to be here today because this conference started a few years ago as a local conference in the Florida chapter, and I have gotten to grow with it professionally as well as with the program and just see it come so full circle from what it was to a virtual program nationwide to being back here today in my hometown in Miami. Just seeing it come alive, and Nike is such a big reason of why we were able to take it to that next level, why we were able to really push that bar and have international viewership at home, to have students driving in from all over the country for this. It's in my wildest dreams that this could happen. So really, I can't thank you enough, Nike. It is just such a dream come true to see what this conference has become today from your support of the next generation and making moments like this possible. And then I also want to thank, of course, the Recording Academy staff, all of my colleagues. You've worked so hard to make this possible for us, to just make this bigger than we could imagine. You all know who you are. Thank you so much. I want to especially thank Kat Storn-Mayora on my team for just putting her blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, to making it incredible. All right, well, I think that's all my thanks. So all my emotions to get things started. You have an amazing day ahead of you. And so to kick things off, I'm gonna bring out a friend of mine who is the executive producer for many years on the Dan Le Batard Show. He's a DJ. He made a musical about the Super Bowl, and it was #1 on iTunes. Please give a round of applause for my good friend, Mike Ryan Ruiz.
Give it up for Jesse one more time. Hey, everybody. Hello, GRAMMY U. Hello, Miami. I know a lot of people are here from out of town, came in for this event. We gave you a warm welcome at 4:45 a.m. on a Thursday morning with a national alert. Hope you enjoyed that. Really excited to be here, folks. As you know, the Recording Academy has done a lot for music over the years, that goes without saying, but GRAMMY U, especially in this market that I care about so much, my hometown, they've done a lot in engaging the community. And it's really awesome that we partnered up with Nike this year, because you have fashion and branding and music all coming together in a wonderful crock pot of culture. So let's give it up one more time for Nike. We got a lot of fascinating panels today. I want to welcome our live streamers watching at home, in their cars, on their phones. Don't do that. I appreciate all of the support. With all that being said, who's excited to get started? All right, first panel is about songwriting. Any songwriters in the building here? Any people that call themselves songwriters that just use ChatGPT? I'll be hosting a ChatGPT panel in the back. It's really a fast pass to success. But truly, the songwriters are probably the most fun people at the cocktail party. Probably. They'll open up. Too much. TMI from the songwriters at the cocktail party. Overheard some of that stuff. You guys are going through it. It was a rough couple years. Good for art. I made a musical, as Jesse mentioned. It did reach #1 on the iTunes chart. Very easy to manipulate, that algorithm. Not worth applauding. But I'm inspired by music all the time. Athletes are inspired by music all the time, whether you see them wearing their headphones, getting ready to get charged up, and go out there and express themselves in their artistic ways. Musicians often garner their inspiration from seeing athletes. You can't watch a music video without seeing someone wearing a jersey. So it's actually a lot closer than you think, the relation between those two worlds. And songwriting is the very backbone of some of those artists expressing themselves. And this panel is all about finding your inspiration and identity. It's going to be phenomenal, and we hope you stay locked in on the live stream. Let's talk about how to develop your branding, your voice within your songwriting. Now, your moderator is very special. I had the pleasure of meeting her backstage. Not only is she a brilliant rising artist from Miami, she's also a Grammy U member. Let's please give a warm welcome to Isadora.
My name's Isadora. I'm a singer-songwriter from Miami, and I have the absolute pleasure of starting off today's Grammy U event. Thank you so much. I was literally in your seats like 2 weeks ago, so I'm super, super excited to be here. Thank you so much to Nike for presenting this. Thank you to the GRAMMY U Conference. Thank you to the Recording Academy, Songwriters and Composers Wing. And okay, let's get started. Our first panelist that I'd like to bring out is Gale. Not only is she an amazing person, but she is one of the individuals I most admire in this industry. She's a Latin Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter who's been recognized by Billboard and has more than 1.3 million listeners on Spotify monthly. She's from Puerto Rico, so obviously there's a special place in my heart. She's worked with numerous artists in addition to also now starting her career as a solo artist. She's also been recognized as an artist on the rise by Billboard and has worked with artists like Shakira, Christina Aguilera, Pharrell Williams, Cardi B, Manuel Turizo, and the list goes on and on. I'm so, so excited to introduce not only my friend, but also this amazing artist, Gale!
One, two, three, yeah. Hi, everyone. Isadora. You know I love you.
I love you. Now, another artist that not only do I admire, but I love so much. She's so incredibly special to me and to every single person that meets her. She's a Latin Grammy-nominated and award-winning artist. She launched her solo career in 2020, and that same year, Billboard named her as an artist on the rise. She's co-written for most of the hits that you guys have probably heard. You've definitely heard her in a lot of the songs you love. And she's worked with people like Becky G, Rauw Alejandro, Camilo, Mark Anthony, Daddy Yankee, J-Lo, and the list also goes on and on. She was nominated for 3 different awards this year, including Premio Lo Nuestro for Female Artist of the Year in the Urban category. So now please give a round of applause for this amazing human being, Elena Rose.
Hi, guys. Hola.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about finding your identity. I think a lot of us here are going through that process of not only in music, but in life. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? So they're here to give us a little bit of insight on that. So very greatly appreciated. I think we could start from the beginning a little bit. What got you guys into music? How was that experience growing up? Was anybody in your family in music? And kind of how did you get your foot through that first door and that first opportunity?
Okay, I'll start. I basically grew up in like a music house. My dad is a musician. My mom did like theater in college. So I always felt very connected to music since the very beginning. And to me, in that aspect, it's always been very natural. Like it's always what I've been wanted to do, you know, when you're a kid and sometimes you go through different stages, you're like, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, and I always wanted to be an artist. I didn't know how I was going to do it, I just knew that that was it for me. I was like, no, I'm going to be a singer when I grow up, yeah, I want to be an artist. And I would always perform like in front of my family, and yeah, I wrote my first song when I was 7 years old, and I thought I had a superpower, and then I just kept on going. That's like the very beginning.
I love that first chapter.
Right? Yeah, that's like the intro.
By the way, the craziest thing about today is that we're actually friends, the three of us.
Yes.
So I think, you know, we always get asked, what does it feel to be a woman in the industry? And it feels amazing when you're surrounded by women like they are. So
it's so true.
In my case, for example, my sister sings beautiful, my mom sings. None have ever done anything professional with music, but music was always a way for me to communicate. When I was younger, I was very, it's like I had memory for what I wanted to, or like me concentraba. I would like stay focused on the things that I wanted to, but I still had to go to school. I still had to learn the things that I didn't want to, and my mom kind of figured out that through music I could learn faster, right? And my memory could. Because also my memory has always been one of the things that I'm very insecure about. I forget things. But I think the beautiful thing as well when you're so young, for example, is that you don't know the things that that you're attracted to. And when you have people around you that are like, okay, yes, obviously the world has told me so many times that if my kid wants to be a musician, that is a no. But is something that you're feeling good doing it. So how can we explore that? I tried to go to school for it. Nobody really accepted me. I tried to like kind of learn, which is why I always say I'm an eternal student, but I think a good student needs a good teacher, right? And that took me a while to find, but music was definitely like my first language of how can I feel good in this world. And for the longest time, it felt like the only thing I could do, you know, which is also part of like what I appreciate of being here today is to give a little bit of what I've learned, that music is a way for you guys to accomplish what God has put in your heart to pursue in life. But it can be como like a car to get there. But you are amazing, amazing people capable of so much more than you think.
Yeah, I love that. And so when you guys got to that point where you found music, how do you feel in sense of finding yourself when you first started songwriting, especially for other people? I feel like a lot of us, whether it be assignments in class that people assign you, when you're writing for someone else versus, when you're writing for yourself, do you feel like you have every song you wrote, Elena, that has like, you can hear yourself, even if it's an urban song or a salsa song or a ballad, that's you,
I think that started happening when people would be like, did you write that?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you. So that is when I'm sorry, my English is a little bit broken, but that is when I kind of figured out like, oh, I have a sound. I think for me it's more my melodies. I for sure have rules, like I don't like, in Spanish we say maldecir, or like the word hate. If there's a song that I have my credits, it's never gonna say I hate. Or strong words. I do believe in the power of the word. So I'm very mindful of that, but I think mainly melodies. And it started happening, like I said, more of like people being like, did you write that? Was that you? And then now it's like, okay, that does kind of sound like me.
I love that. I think that's super interesting because for me, when I'm writing with another artist, if I'm the writer in the room, right? Like I compare it a lot to acting, and I did musical theater. So to me, I'm also acting, but also like a therapist, right? Because the first hour of that session is gonna be hopefully a conversation, so you get to know this person, or if you know them, at least you get to get a little bit more like in depth of what they're feeling and what you wanna like help them say, right? So it is like acting, because when I enter that session, I know that song is not gonna be mine. So I'm gonna help this person with their feelings, and I'm gonna try to help them say how they wanna say things, but it's for you, it's for them, it's your expression. When it's for me, it's more like, it's like opening a portal to vulnerability, and it's a completely different process. It's more like, I am always afraid when I'm doing it, and I love it because it's so freaking scary. It's so scary. And every time I'm like, oof, I maybe shouldn't say that. When I say that to myself, I'm like, that's why you should say that, because you feel like you shouldn't, so just say it. Yeah. So it's also like a cool, cathartic conversation with myself and my feelings, and I love that process too. And I love that it's scary.
It's like an act of real self-love. Like, for example, to me, I always encourage artists to also write for other artists, because for me it was a way of understanding that the person that I was being for that artist in that act of service, because it's a service, you're there for someone that needs to put in words what they're feeling, that needs to heal, that needs to have a normal conversation for fucking 5 minutes of the crazy life that they live, right? So in that moment, I realized I want to be that friend to me. Because when I sit down and I work for me, I am 10 times more hard on myself, you know, and the process is so different. On the opposite, with other people, it's like, no, it's okay, it's gonna come out, it's gonna flow. Sure. So I'm like, I want to be that person to me. And I think that is also beautiful of that, you know, catharsis that you're talking, that brings out that self-love that is so important when you're creating.
It's true. And I know, I mean, because I'm like the biggest fan of these two people, I know you both are now starting to release more of your own music, and you're starting to find your own sound, and even like the way you dress and everything is so you. I mean, even right now,
by the
like
way, I wanted to take my heels off really quick. I'm saying.
So when you were discovering that, and when you first got into the place of, I'm ready to take that step and have my face be the one on the album, how was that? And how did you switch from writing for all these people to now, okay, what sound is my sound, you know?
I think a lot of it had to do with the world almost ending, to me at least. That was like my cue.
That happened.
That was like my cue. Okay, the world had to almost end for me to be like, it's my time. I think for me, I started, to give you a little bit of background, I started singing at bars when I was really young. And the first time I was in a studio, I was already 20-something. Like, it was very alien, o sea, como alien to me. Yeah. Era como que, what is this? And why is my voice like this? And it's like a cold room. What is happening? I grew up así, like in singing in the streets, every single corner that you've been in Miami. I've been blessed to be there with amazing musicians that taught me so much, and the importance of how all of this is a big journey that takes you to places that, you know, you don't know. And even though if you have your mind on the vision that this is for you and there's a space for you, and you don't have to make it because it's already written, if you have a talent that this is gonna work out how God wants it for you, then it works out. But in that process of flowing, for example, a lot of doors open, and in my case, songwriting and writing for other people was something that I never thought I would be, you know, drawn to, or like even have the opportunity. And then I grew so much, but it became a comfort zone because I realized I was not ready to be the person in front with all the pressure that right now represents to be an artist, because it's not like before. Our brothers and others generations, they were able to do whatever they wanted. I don't know if I can curse, but I don't really speak very clean. They fucked up because they were learning how to do things. But the artist right now is an actual influencer, is an actual leader, and we're so much exposed to the responsibility that we can't keep doing the things that we've been doing before. And I'm not saying we have to be perfect. I'm not saying we have to be, you know, this something that we're not. But if I am my 100% me, that is out of pure, you know, like authenticity. And that works. But obviously, if you find a comfort zone that I'm like, okay, I need to grow, I need to understand, like, who do I want to be in the industry? Because then you have always the voice that's like, you have to be different. And that is a wrong way of seeing it. You are unique. You don't have to be different. O sea, you don't have to be different. You don't want to have to.
It's not a goal.
It's not. Or like how people are like, I want to change the world. I don't need nobody to change the world. I need people to love the world. And that is a big process, you know? And obviously, that took me away from being an artist for like 2 seconds. And then the world almost ended, and I said, holy shit. God gave me the ability to sing, and for example, you having the ability to create something, and I said it the other day in a song, I wrote it. It was a song talking about what it feels to fall in love. My little sister asked me once what it feels to fall in love, and the song is the answer to that. And one of the lines says, imagínate cantar algo que nunca has escuchado. Imagine singing something that you've never heard before. This is what you guys are. You are songs already written, top to bottom, that nobody has ever heard before. But you are perfect. And then it's just finding that space of like, how am I gonna defend this, right? To me, it took me a minute. And that minute was important because now I know that I am willing to die for it.
I think people tend to rush that process because everyone's telling you who you're supposed to be, or you go on Spotify and you see a playlist and it's like, okay, well, this music is the music that is successful, you know? And I think that adds a lot of pressure to us as songwriters or as artists because you think you have to follow that to make it. But I mean, even now, how do you see the industry, Gale? Like, how are you seeing that brand, the artist as a brand? When you're looking for your own music and what you want to release now, and that consistency in yourself, how does that feel in that process?
Oof, to me, it has to do a lot of like being honest and staying true to yourself and who you are and what you are. And I know that is like a constant evolution too. And sometimes we never fully know the answer to that. But instead of getting like frustrated about that, you should feel hopefully like excited about that, you know? There's also something interesting and wonderful about uncertainty. Not always, because it's so stressful sometimes, but like in this matter of like constantly finding yourself and searching for inspiration and staying motivated, because it's a lot of work. And for example, to me, like the opportunity, like I had to like evaluate. Evaluate. That was a very similar word, like how my brain, okay. Evaluate. The options, right, of like the journey. And in my case, I studied music. I went to school since, you know, when I was 10 to 17 and I graduated, like a music school in Puerto Rico, but it was a classical music school. So let's say like Juilliard, but like PR version of it, like with great professors. It was amazing. But in my case, I was like, I'm studying classical music, I'm studying opera, I love it, but I want to do pop. Like, I want to sing, I want to be a pop star. And then when I graduated, I told my parents, like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm 17, so I'm probably going to move to Miami, and I'm going to, like, make it happen. And my dad was like, you're going to college. And I was like, fine, I'll study music, I'll just, like, go ahead and, like, keep on studying music and graduate and then move to Miami. And he's like, no, you studied music already, so search the plan B, like, search something that will make you feel inspired, but also like help you in your career. And And I was like doing some research because I was like, what am I gonna do? Music is my thing, parents. And I studied advertising, so there comes the branding too, which to me, it helped me so much. But I did it like I took like summer classes and everything because I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a singer, I'm gonna be an artist, I need to do this.
Wow.
And
but
then
that is a big testimony, bro, because you sacrificed yourself for a minute to do that.
But then you learn in that process.
You're learning, exactly.
And like,
it had to be that way.
Yeah, and like everything is hard, and it's a lot of work, right? And you need to understand a lot of these things, and I feel like that helped me.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it was meant to be, and I think this is the perfect example, because my case was the complete opposite. When my parents were like, you need to study, I was like, no, bro, I'm leaving, I'm out. I'm making this work however. My path was different as yours, as sacrificing as yours, as painful as yours, but we're in the same space right now. So to me, what that means is each path has to be what it is, but if it's meant to be, you're gonna end up in the same space.
Oh yes.
Definitely.
Oh yes, you will.
Preach for you, sis.
No, it's really crazy because I feel like that sense of authenticity is coming out so much more now. Even for us, I think a lot of us are looking for that, but even just hearing you guys talk, I don't even think it's something you look for. I think it's something that eventually finds you. You don't find it. And so it's so beautiful hearing you guys talk about that story. And even, I mean, we're in Miami, obviously. That's why we speak a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of English, and I think sometimes being here, you're like, where am I? Where am I from? All these things. And so I know you guys have both worked in the English world and in songs for the Anglo world. So how was that experience, especially being proud Latinas and walking into that room and knowing, oh my God, like this is a whole other industry, you know?
Yeah, and it's a whole different world, and it's such an honor now that Latinos are on the radar the way that we are, but I think I hadn't realized it personally till I started traveling. Like while I was here, I was proud to be a Latina, but when I started traveling, I said, if I were to be born again, I want to be a Latina again. Yeah. You know? So it takes that, like leaving and actually traveling, I don't know, Europe. Last year I was in Africa, the beginning of this year as well, with this amazing Moroccan artist, and how she's so different, yet our ideas como que convergían, ¿me entiendes? Yeah. They made sense together, and I started realizing how our melodies have a certain, you know, the way that we express ourselves, just the energy is different, yet if you have like the open heart of being in a space and making it work, then we start como developing like this global, you know, yeah, and like the global identity, which for me has been my goal lately. I want to feel global because, for example, I was born in Miami, but I grew up between Venezuela, Puerto Rico. I've been traveling basically the last 7 years of my life, and I don't know where I am from anymore. Because everywhere I go, I have friends, I have family, I have a home. So it's like, I think also for music is such a cool moment and time, especially if you're gonna sit down and create. Yes, I'm gonna put who I am in the song regardless, because even if I don't try, like that's just me, that's what's gonna come out. But how can I make it for that if I play it to a friend that I have in Morocco or in China, they're gonna connect to the song, you know? So I think that global mentality is.
And it's like
really
no boundaries too in music. I feel like it shouldn't be, but now more than ever, it's like, it feels like that, like more like a global sense.
I mean, the #1 song in the world right now is a ranchera, which is so beautiful.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And I know, Gale, I remember the other day I was looking through some credits, and I saw you were on like a rap song from 2019, like a random. I think was it Tory Lanez? Maybe.
I have no idea.
Like
sometimes your team gets those things mixed up. You need to be on top of it.
But have you had the experience of working with American artists that are completely different than what
sure,
you're doing.
For sure,
So
and
how is that?
I feel like that's magical, and it's funny sometimes too. I feel like because the Latin thing is so like so strong,
Yeah.
right?
So strong.
But I feel like it's amazing to be in the room, and it's like magic every time. And they, in my experience, you know, with Pharrell or with Ryan Tedder, that are very like pop and
Like more
strong and structured. It was awesome. Like the process is always different, but everyone in the room like respects each other and they listen to each other, right? It's not like, oh, you're Latina, so you're probably gonna just like, no.
Absolutely.
So thank God my experience has been good in that sense, that they don't always wanna, let's do a reggaeton track,
Right.
because you're in the room, right? It's like, I'm a writer, I can write, you know, I write pop, I write both. So it's good that that has happened in that sense. Because sometimes, right, like sometimes, I don't know, people are like, reggaeton.
I mean, there's a little bit of
That's
everything,
that's
yeah.
the Latin sound, reggaeton,
Yeah.
and you're like, no.
Yeah.
And it's
There's a
like,
little bit of everything.
it sounds like it's tumpa tumpa, but there's more depth. And sometimes writing those bars in reggaeton, that might sound like simple, it's not.
It's not. And I think also like we can't generalize, right?
No.
There's obviously like whack
Yeah.
stories and situations in a studio, but I think what's so cool for the person that is in the studio, that is behind the scene, is that we can learn how to turn a situation in whatever we want it to be. Yeah. And in that moment, we have two options. We walk out with a song or we don't walk out with a song. Yeah. Those are the only two options in a session, right?
Yeah. Like, there's
so we
no
either
pressure.
go with the flow. Like to me, for example, I had a session the other day with Swedish House Mafia. And I'm like, guys, I don't know what I'm doing here, but yeah, for sure. I'm gonna flow with you. Like, you guys are from the other side of the world, yet so welcoming. And that vibe, for example, Pharrell has that too. Like, they're students. And they're so humble, and I think that is the biggest thing that someone like that can teach you, is that no matter in what stage of our career we are, because they started too. That's what we forget. They started too. The thing is, they've never ended. They've never thought that they've ended. They've never thought that they've made it. And I think that is such a big thing for a dreamer. That is like in every stage of our career, we're being mindful of like our surroundings, what are we doing? How can I enjoy
stop.
this too? Because then it starts happening so fast, and you're like, wait, what?
How am I here?
That happened? You know? So it's like, how can we put in a balance, you know, where we come from, our ideals, what we want to accomplish with also life, and how much we have to learn from the people that are around us, you know.
And I also think it's so true, and I also think that it's very, like, songwriters, if you're a creative, you just need to stay connected, like not only with yourself, but like with how Elena is saying, like with life, with every little thing, like with the moments, with, I don't know, everything, movies, books,
Everything is inspiring.
Yeah, because I feel like that's what you use, that's your fuel to create, whether if it's, I don't know, just a verse or just one line every morning in your notebook. Like, I feel like that's how you stay connected and how you stay creative.
And forever young, too.
Forever. and a never-ending journey.
No, it's so beautiful, especially the aspect of that journey and eternal growth, you know? Like, I recently graduated college, and it's not over there. Like, you constantly are going online to look for more information. You constantly want to learn more, or you're in a room with everybody else knows more than you do, and how are you gonna get to that point of, okay, I'm learning from these people instead of I know everything. If you guys had to, I mean, a lot of us are songwriters, a lot of us are artists, and a lot of people here are even studying music right now. So what piece of advice would you give that next generation that's going into the industry now and in the world of how it is, you know? What would you guys have told your 20-year-old self or your 21-year-old self?
That part always makes me emotional.
What have you told me?
Or you? Well, you're like my little sister. I tell you all the time. I think it's very important. It depends also and your ideals. I'm not a religious person, but I am very spiritual. God is the most important thing in my life, and I wouldn't be here if he wouldn't have wanted it that way, you know? Like, every single thing that has happened in my life, I've been able to look by my side and not be alone. And to me, that is a blessing. I think it's very important to take care of your mind, your soul, because you are living a beautiful experience that is called life, that you deserve to be alive, that you deserve to be loved, to feel loved. And your surroundings are very important to the moment that you're creating, your team, your teachers, like I said. I think that is very key. I think also understanding that time doesn't exist, that dreamers will never feel fulfilled. So just make peace with the fact that you're always gonna want more, but then what is more? I always ask myself, what is more? I always want more, but what is that more that I am wanting? And to just also enjoy the beautiful talent that God gave you. That for some people is gonna be like, I don't know, I don't fuck with that. And then for someone else, it happened to me last night. I met this couple. They were like, we kissed for the first time with this song. And I said, wow, I would have never wanted to kiss for the first time with that song in the back. But okay, thank you. That is beautiful, you know? And they're getting married. And that's the power that you have, and it was giving to you, and in the next life is gonna be probably giving to someone else. So enjoy it, and I love you guys. I genuinely do. Fuck, dude, like look at what we do. And we're in the United States of America. There's people that can't leave their countries, man. And you're here, and you have every single opportunity, and it's hard, but it's gonna be hard irregardless if you have money or if you don't, if you have a place to live or if you have roommates, bro. So that's my advice. And I cry out of love.
I love you. I would have to say that this is like ups and downs, but again, that's life. And never take it for granted. I feel like sometimes it comes very natural to us, and it's like, yeah, this is just what I do. I wrote a song. But it's like, no, you wrote a song. Not a lot of people can do that, so it's definitely a gift. And I'm always afraid, so I always do things with fear, but I do them. That was like my dad's best consejo, advice that he's given me. So I feel like it's always gonna be very scary and a challenge, but that should be like fuel enough for you to like just do things, right? Just do it. And also, I had to. But also put in the work. It's a lot of work. Yeah. And also understand that you don't have to do it alone, because that happens to me too. I'm like, I can do everything all by myself. No, you don't have to. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. So ask for help. Search for people that are also interested in the same things that you are, or not. Get inspired by that. Find a team, or not. But like, just be open to possibilities, because I feel like it's a great journey. And also what Elena said about staying grounded and just being present, that is, to me, the most important thing, because everything happens so fast. And, you know, I think about that first song I wrote when I was 7, and I showed it to my grandparents, and they're like, you wrote that? And I was like, yeah. It was a salsa, by the way. Oh. I do not sing salsa, but that first song was a salsa. Wow. But what I'm saying is that I look back, and I'm like, wow, now I'm here with this amazing, talented human beings, and you, too. And it's like, this is a great accomplishment, you know, and a great responsibility. And it comes all together. So I feel like that's what I would say. I said a lot of little things, but they're all very important things, so don't forget.
Little mantras. Also mantras. Mantras are important. There's a lot of, like, in the power of, for example, repetition. I love, yeah.
Manifest.
Yeah. Manifesting is real, bro.
I I think it's also so important to see that sometimes we're so focused on a goal, and goals are important, but I feel like I've never reached a single goal that I set for myself because something else happened that I'm so grateful for. So it's like remembering that time is, it's supposed to happen now. Whatever is happening is supposed to happen, and whatever door opens is the one that's supposed to open. So that's so amazing. And I want to know, just because I want to know, I mean, hopefully you guys want to know too, but because I'm a fan, what's coming now? What are you guys up to? And who is Elena Rose, and who's she gonna bring into the room, and who's Gale, and what's she bringing? Like, what's the future? What's coming?
What
are you bringing, Gale?
What do you bring?
I'm a mess, and I'm working on an album. No, I mean, I'm super excited for what's to come. I'm looking forward to shows. I love performing, and I'm also working on an album. It's very personal, very vulnerable, very cool, and I can't wait to share it with you all. But besides that, always like working, driven, focused, and living life. I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. Like right now.
That's a good one.
Stay tuned. That's all I have to say. Coming
Stay
soon.
tuned. I love that. I love that. For me as well, I'm working on my first album, which is, I feel I've been working for it my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's very inspiring for me to feel how I feel now and how I can, be in front. Even though it's very hard for me to leave, rooms with other artists, and I'm still part of different projects. I'm very involved in movies right now. I love that. And I think, like Gale said, life has taught me that I have to live life. And I've been, busy. And we shouldn't be that busy. So enjoying the present, feeling very grateful, and loving to do things like this as well, I think is very important. So thank you for getting me out of bed before noon. I appreciate that very much. And I can't wait, seriously, to share with you the music that I've been doing just for the only fucking reason that I hope it inspires you guys to do the same. And that I really, really want you guys to accomplish everything that you have in your heart and soul, but God has such a dope plan. And we have to trust him, man. He's the biggest artist. He's the coolest writer, top hit writer. And he's writing songs through us. So yeah, I'm excited to see how you guys keep being a beautiful song. Can't wait. Yay. Thank you.
I think we have...
Isa, what about you before we leave? Come on, bro, this girl.
What about you, Isa?
I'm so proud of you.
The question.
I'm proud of you. Look at where you're sitting, man.
These girls have been like my mentors in life. So I'm so excited to be here today. But I think there are a few questions that 2 students were going to ask. I'm not sure where they are.
Do you want water?
Oh, there's water. Is somebody supposed to ask a question? Oh.
It was beautiful. You're gonna make me cry. I cried. I'm gonna cry. Do you guys live here in Miami?
Oh,
No?
I love that.
From not Miami.
Ooh.
So you guys flew out here for this? Like for the entire week thing?
You drove? How many hours? That's so inspiring.
That's amazing. Congrats. Please take care in Miami. Really?
I think we do have Carly. Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. My name's Isaiah. So I had a question. So as a person who has a natural talent for poetry and lyricism, I was wondering what you think the first step would be in terms of transitioning that talent into... Dang.
Exposed.
like a little bit, just like a little bit.
Like a little bit. Is a structure of the freedom that is within you, right? Because in 3 minutes or 2 minutes, now it's like a minute and a half because apparently that's what's cool. But I don't know what the fuck is that. You have to put literally a part of you. A story, for example. I like stories or a poem. I think what's gonna give you that push to like understand that you've done a commercial song is that it's digestible from the moment you play it till the moment it ends. It told you a story. It made you feel, which is important in a commercial song because that's where I struggled, right? I was like, wait, but why can't I do like 3 times the chorus? That's all I want people to hear. They're like, no, because you need a second verse. If not, people won't want to listen to the song. So, for example, the way I like to see it is when I write a poem, if I am able to read it, if I move the sections around, if I'm able to read it the same way, always. If I put the bridge in the beginning of the song, I have the same feeling as if I leave it where it should be, right? So it's kind of playing around, but understanding that each part has its own life, and that even though they tell you it has to be a certain way, it doesn't really have to be a certain way. Like, you are poetry, like I said. Like, what you're doing, nobody can do it. But you might wanna, have it as digestible as you can. And I think having como compartmentalized each section.
Say, like, melodies too, like
right.
Just play with melodies in the different sections with what you're saying.
But if they can live by themselves, I think to me, that is, you're able to be free within writing in those 4 or 8 bars, But I mean, dude, I wish, like, for when I die, for it to be like, I don't want to be a songwriter. Like, it's dope to be like, you're a poet. That's different.
That's sick.
You tell me how's the structure, bro. Yeah.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. And you've been writing music, or you?
I've just been writing like poems since I was like little. Like how you said when you were 7, you wrote your first song. That's kind of when I wrote like my first poem. But I've never made like a conventional song like with like a chorus and with a bridge and all that stuff. So
I feel like a good exercise would be go to a song that you really love and hear it and then go to more of the technical side of it and then try to apply those to what you're writing. But it should always feel like just free.
Yeah. And I think that is so cool in poetry.
Yeah.
It's freedom. Like, we don't have to fully understand it.
Yeah.
It's just a little part of you.
For sure.
You have to acknowledge it, right?
Exactly. And something that I do, but I tell like this to everyone too, it's not poetry, but I call it, it is free writing. So what I do is I just set on a timer for 5 or 10 minutes if you have time when you wake up. And then don't think about it, just write. Literally just write. And then when you go back to it, you can find maybe 1 line or maybe like 3 words, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be my song, this is gonna be my poem, or this is gonna be the poem that I'm gonna turn into the song. And I feel like that's a very cool exercise that I do almost every day.
Yeah.
So maybe.
But I think for him, like, structure is important.
To turn that into a song.
I remember at least to practice it if you want to write like a full song. But even more now, like, I don't think structures are like.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Ask another question. You got this.
You gave me more answers.
Another one. That's it. Another one.
Oh, actually, another
yeah.
one? Yeah. What's your favorite song that you haven't written, and why is it your favorite?
That I haven't written?
Yeah. Something that someone else wrote.
Oh, I thought it was like the song that I haven't written yet. I was like, that's deep, Mr. Poet.
What is the song of your heart that is speaking to you right now?
Dude, honestly, every time I hear, what's this, Lauryn Hill?
Running up that.
No. You say yours first, so I remember. I'm telling you, it's a memory thing, papi. It's like a whole thing. What you say? I'm trying to remember.
I have many, but I feel like Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. I love that song so much. Every time I hear it, I was like, it hurts. But also God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. That just breaks me every time, and I love that. I'm very nostalgic, even though I'm always smiling. I love crying too. I love like feeling everything very deeply, which is also, I feel like, is part of being creatives, but like for real. So I love those songs that make you feel so much in 2-3 minutes. I feel like mission accomplished when that happens. Even if it's like these two songs, which is complete opposites feelings, like Don't Stop Me Now, and God Only Knows, it's like, shit, I love that. So maybe
to me, for example, like,
but so many more too.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to that guy that night.
Ooh.
Because also the story, low-key, by the way, can we keep talking or should we go?
Yeah, I don't have a clock.
Okay, cool. So it was like 3 a.m., he was sleeping. Thank you, by the way, mi amor. For real, good luck.
Thank you.
You're amazing. He was sleeping and the melody woke him up.
Oh, I love that.
And he went to the studio and he recorded it, and it was Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Also that too, like those moments of like, it's just boom.
Yeah, sometimes we cannot explain those things.
Yeah.
And most times it feels like that. It feels like, oh my God. You know, every time you go into the room and you know you're about to write a song, that's crazy. You're about to write something that does not exist. That's badass, you know?
Yeah.
And that puts on the pressure, but then it's like what you said. Like, it might happen or it might not, and it's fine. We're all here with the same goal, and it's okay. But I feel like it's magical all the time.
Every single time, which is why I'm like, every time, for example, in the back when we were there, she was like, oh, there's things in your bio that don't show, and it's like, these songs that you've written, I'm like, yo, I haven't written none of those songs, man. I was there, and it was just that moment that, boom, it was giving, and it just happened, and it's changed my life over and over, but.
And I feel like it's important for us and for you to always stay close to that feeling.
Of that feeling, of being surprised as well. Every time I listen to a song, I'm in shock.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, and give yourself the credit, please, because sometimes it's like, no, I just know. Yeah, you were there, you did it, you felt it, you lived it. I feel like that also, it's important.
I think we have another question.
Yay!
I love that. Because we can keep talking forever.
Hi, girls.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Alice, and I was wondering how you keep up with this fast-changing pace of songwriting, because like now this super long and deep process of writing a top 10 hit can be done in just a few hours in a session or in a camp. And I was wondering if that somehow changed, and if so, how changed your process or your decisions.
Wait, let me get this straight.
This is a good question.
This is a really good question. Complex.
I feel like you
because I think it has like two sides.
Yeah, in my head, like when you
what
go
are you
in,
really feeling? What are you really feeling? Because
I guess because we see it changing so much, right?
Yeah.
Not only how things are written, but what gets people's attention and what actually goes to the top hits, and how, you know, just how you, if that changed your process or how you feel about it.
Because when you said like how a hit can be done in a couple of hours, I still can't fully understand that, but I have been more and more, and I think it's because unfortunately we have the idea that everything in life, in order for it to work, has to be fucking hard. And it doesn't really. They sometimes just flow. And Lady Gaga wrote in
Bad
5
Romance.
minutes, you know? And it has her own, I mean, I don't want to talk about what we've done, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they all have their own soul. Like, for example, Tattoo, de Raúl Alejandro, I remember it was a song that it took us like a month to write. It made no sense. But I would keep, like, for example, we had songs that came out in between of writing that song. But it's because there was just always something about the melody that would drive me to go back to it. Like, no, let's just finish it. O sea, I would be like, da 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 di da 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 di da 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 da. Like, bro, there has to be something. Pero no quiero rimar. I don't want to rhyme tattoo with blue. I can't, dude. How am I gonna say blue? But you know, they all have their different soul. I think we shouldn't, like, just to not start an inner war, feel, or you're allowed to feel how you want to feel. I understand how you're feeling, but I think what's the healthiest thing for us right now is to understand that music right now is that way because of a lot of factors, and mainly it's just people having a lot of access. We have a lot of exposure. Everything has become easier, but not really. It seems like it is, but not really. And the ones that end up working, well, amazing. For me, it's more like the ones that stay, the timeless factor. That is where I'm like, how are we gonna get a fucking timeless song every time? I don't even think of like the top 100 global, and you know.
Yeah, I feel like that shouldn't be the goal when you go in.
I'm talking
it's not
about
like, let's write a top 10. I mean, hopefully,
in
but
50
you never
years,
like know that.
In 50 years, when you know, in another one of these, someone is like, that song that Gale wrote, da 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 da, and sings it and gives that example. I'm talking about that, and that it takes time to build, but I think also making peace with the fact that whatever is happening in the world has nothing to do with how you have to do things. Like, I'm sure Picasso didn't give a fuck of what was happening at the moment with art when he was creating, because he was probably like, this is all more of the same, this is all, which probably, you know, it's a big world. And everybody now is able to do, and they should, because, yo, I'd rather people doing songs than doing crazy things. Like, please, I love it when they say, they're like, no, because you have 20,000 songs coming out every Thursday. Papi, I'd rather that 100 times than you tell me that there's 20,000 horrible things happening somewhere else, right? So everybody's just trying to put and get things out. If you laser focus on what you do, all of that is gonna silence.
And I feel like just go and write every day.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a song is gonna, you know, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's not like going with that mindset of like, how do I write a top 10? It's more like, how do I write a good record? And if everyone is like in the same page, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is so exciting.
Congrats, bebé. Éxito.
Gracias.
Well, I think we can all agree that we can keep talking literally the entire day, which we probably will. But that concludes our songwriting identity panel. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. I love you both so much.
We love you.
Thank you. I'm really, really happy. After this, we're gonna take a 15-minute break, so you guys can, I see snacks over there, so you can enjoy some of those. I probably will.
Be there.
And then after this comes the Building Your Personal Brand here at the GRAMMY U Conference. Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you.
I think we take a break.
Hello, Grammy U. My name is Daniel Ramos. I am the national membership rep. And wasn't that songwriting panel amazing? If you enjoyed the songwriting panel as much as I did, make sure to check it out in the comments and talk about it amongst yourselves and yeah, get a conversation going. Today I'm here with Grammy U member Franco. Franco, talk a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm Franco. I'm a Latin artist and songwriter based in Miami who studied at Berkeley College of Music, the music business program, which was amazing. And I recently graduated and have been a part of the Grammy U program for a couple of years now. So definitely recommend.
Awesome, Franco. Now, what did you enjoy about the songwriting panel?
I think I enjoyed all of it. Honestly, hearing their stories, it was really inspiring to see how they both come from different backgrounds, like completely different backgrounds, but they've reached similar levels of success and have worked with amazing talents. So it's inspiring to see how you can come from a completely different story and also reach those levels no matter where you come from.
That's amazing to hear. Now, Franco, since we were talking about songwriting, do you have any songs that come to mind or any favorite songs that you're listening to right now?
I mean, it's hard to admit, it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but I came out of the movie theaters, I watched Super Mario Bros, and I couldn't get peaches out of my head.
Song.
Man, it was, and I was surprised too. Like I thought when I heard it was gonna be a cultural moment just because of how catchy it was, but I was surprised to see it on the billboard afterwards. So
that's amazing.
Glad to know it wasn't the only one.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for the next panel, the branding panel that's coming in shortly, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, well, that will be nice, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you to everybody that is tuning in live online. Hope you're enjoying the program, getting those virtual badges. I have stolen approximately 7 centerpieces so far. Thanks to our friends at Nike. I'm very excited about this upcoming panel, which is all about branding. And I mean, Nike is pretty much synonymous with branding, instantly recognizable. And our good friends over at Nike have prepared a short video message here before we get going.
Strength, passion, and inspiration come in many forms. For us, our greatest strength lies in those we love.
A love not defined by limits,
but by a will to build upon the legacy of the ones before us.
For those that walk the path after us.
A massive force that fuels us to stand,
dream,
and move forward, arm in arm.
Familia gives us the strength to remain resilient.
To use our passion to lift up one another.
And to turn hopes and dreams into reality.
At Nike.
Aquí en Nike, somos.
We come from different places and have different journeys.
These not only bring us together,
but strengthen our community
to forge a brighter and more inclusive future.
Futuro Latino is constant growth
and never-ending evolution.
Every day is a new day to turn challenges into opportunity.
La familia es nuestra mayor fortaleza.
Family is our greatest strength.
And we always welcome friends with open arms.
Because when one of us wins, we all win.
Strengthen family.
Strengthen family.
Strengthen family.
Strengthen family.
Fuerza en familia.
Fuerza en familia.
Fuerza en familia.
Let's give a round of applause again for our wonderful partners over at Nike. All right, so this next panel is about branding, and I'm personally very curious to hear all about this because I've been asked in my career, what's my brand? And I always kind of get embarrassed when someone asks me that. I think branding in itself is kind of stigmatized. The other day, someone asked me for a bio, and I'm like, I don't write my own bios. It's very uncomfortable for me to put myself out there and describe who I am. But I think this panel is going to be useful for me, especially now that I don't have a blue check anymore. I am currently lost at sea. Thought that was my branding, a blue check. But apparently my branding is not wanting to pay $8 a month. So I want to introduce very shortly Jeanette Becerra, who is going to be moderating this panel. She is the Recording Academy's Latin Membership Manager, based right here in Miami. Some of you may know her already, and she will be leading the Building Your Personal Brand panel. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Jeanette.
Hello, what's up, guys? How are you feeling? You excited for this panel? Yeah, all right. Want to see the energy. So, as he said, my name is Jeanette Becerra, and I'm the membership manager for Latin, music video, and visual media at the Recording Academy. I'm stoked to be here, guys. I was a GRAMMY U student and an ambassador, a campus ambassador, a rep, all that good stuff. And I actually, 5 years ago, with Jesse, created the very first GRAMMY U Conference that was here in Miami. So I'm excited to have this kind of full circle moment with you guys. And yeah, so this panel, Building Your Personal Brand. I'll be talking with 3 leaders, super excited. They're experts in this field, specializing in personal branding and representation and marketing. We're going to jump in and talk through exactly what it is you should be thinking about when developing your own personal brand. So here is the first panelist. First, we have Lu Cardenas. Lu is currently the Global Music Program Director at TikTok, where she creates, TikTok, there you go. She creates new and innovative ways to connect TikTok with the music industry. She also hosts TikTok Radio's first Latin segment ever on SiriusXM. Lu has been featured as one of Business Insider's 15 music power players shaping the industry. Let's give a warm welcome. She is also the founder of Beats Communications. This PR company is recognized as one of the leading agencies servicing USA and Latin America from its headquarters in Miami. Naira has been featured in multiple times on Billboard's yearly Meet the PR Woman behind these Latin superstars. Please welcome Naira.
Hey guys.
Hi. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Joel Palacios. Joel is simply a pro in the music marketing field. He has more than 7 years of experience developing strategic marketing experiences for national and international brands. He deals with branding daily as the commercial partnerships music account manager at Spotify. Here he is, Joel Palacios. We're so excited to start this conversation. I want to just give a quick thank you to GRAMMY U and Nike. This event is amazing, and yeah, we're so excited to be here. So thanks, guys. All right, so let's start on just a little bit about yourselves. I'm sure they want to know. I gave a little intro, but tell us a little bit about your career journey and the position that you hold now. Lou, you want to start?
Sure.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alyssa. I go by Lu Cardenas, and I'm the Global Music Program Manager at TikTok. And I got started in music really young. Used to play music, and I went to music school to study that. And pretty quickly kind of transitioned to the business side of things and realized that was really where I found my spark and where I found the most joy. So out of school, I started working for a music branding agency in New York City, doing business development, and really kind of honed in on the music and brand space. I started working at United Masters, where I helped partner independent artists with brands like ESPN, the NBA, American Eagle, and kind of create opportunities for independent artists that they didn't typically have. A lot of those partnerships centered around digital content like TikTok. And so I eventually transitioned over to the TikTok music team, where I was the US Latin editor, kind of helping create promotional opportunities for Latin artists on TikTok. And about 6 months ago, transitioned into the global music team, now kind of creating opportunities for artists at the global scale to promote their releases, promote trending sounds across the globe, figure out how TikTok shows up for the music industry out in the world at festivals, award shows, etc. So that's a little bit of what I work on and my background.
Awesome. All right. And Naira?
Hey everybody, I'm Nayira Castellanos. I own the communications agency called Beats Communications. Kind of moved up in levels and really got an understanding for every single aspect of an artist's career and the music industry as a whole. And I found my passion was PR, and I said, okay, this is where I'm gonna put all my little eggs, this is where I'm gonna focus. And 6 years after being at the record label, the story is that I asked for a raise and I was denied, and that was the reason why I went independent, and it really has been the best decision of my career, and I've learned so much, and I'm just happy to be here today sharing with you guys a little bit of what I do.
Hello everyone, I'm Joel Palacios. I started my career journey about 5 years ago after I graduated college, where I initially started working across many different industry verticals via advertising, and then later transitioned into the music industry. I initially started to go to school for commercial music business. It's funny, I was having this conversation with one of the students here. And then I later decided to transition to marketing. And then afterwards, that's when I started into advertising and everything. So long story short, after advertising, I got into the music industry, where I worked at Sony for a couple of years, working with across a lot of different international brands, like some of your favorite artists, Manuel Turizo, Raul Alejandro, Maluma, and then later on transition over to Spotify.
All right. And I just want to add, Joel actually attended the first ever GRAMMY U Conference.
Yeah.
Sitting right in the audience. I just wanted to add that.
It's funny. 5 years ago, so this is a really beautiful moment for me and Jeanette. 5 years ago, this is coming full circle now. I was in in the same crowd as you guys, sitting in the chair. And the person speaking up here was actually my brother, Salomon Palacios, who is the SVP of Marketing at Universal. So it's good to be here, and I'm happy to share a couple of gems with you guys today.
All right, thank you so much. So next up, artists are expected to have a brand identity, of course, and creative vision that is represented through their work and marketing. As a professional, can you speak to the importance of having a personal brand in today's current climate?
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll go
Anybody
first.
can take it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially like looking at this room and speaking to students, because I was also like a music industry student at a point. If I think back to that time, I think the most important part about branding, at least for yourself as a professional, is creating a lane for yourself and creating an identity. I think when you're first getting started, people kind of need to know what to do with you. They need to know what doors to open up for you if you come knocking, and you kind of have to give them a little bit of help. So what I think is most important, especially early in your career, is kind of identifying, this is my lane, this is who I am, this is the area that I want to specialize in, and who I am as a person, and what motivates me. And having those kind of core things set up first, knowing that that can always pivot, because I think that's the scary part, and that was the scary part for me. I was like, I don't know who I am yet. I don't want to like put all these labels on it. But just starting somewhere and like giving yourself something to go off of so that people can help you along the way, I think is core. So that's my big piece of advice.
Yeah. I agree with Lou. However, I also think it's subjective to the person in question and what their goals are, right? I know a lot of industry professionals that are extremely successful, but they're not necessarily looking to be a public figure within the industry. They are top performers at their companies and at their agencies, but they're not out there thinking about how to, position themselves on social media, how to share content. They're not worried about, I have to post or I have to attend, right? However, on the flip side, there's people like me, for example. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an independent publicist. So if you are on the independent side of things, and you're a business owner or you want to be a business owner, then you would definitely benefit from growing a personal brand that's, world facing for sure.
My piece on that, I 100% agree with the both of you on both ends. I think it's important to keep in mind that we're all humans at the end of the day, and we're always evolving. So one thing that you have to make sure when establishing your brand is making sure that your brand identity is authentic to who you are. Okay? You never want to be somebody or portray yourself as somebody that you're not, because then you're living a life of duality. So make sure you're true to yourself first. And as you're establishing yourself as a professional, you're being honest when observing whatever jobs you want to take, when communicating and collaborating with your teammates in the workplace. It's very important to make sure that you're genuine and authentic in every interaction, and understand that as you evolve as a person, so will your brand as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point. And kind of on that same note, since you're a professional, sometimes our work is behind the scenes, right? So how do you stand out? How, with your, using your brand, social media or anything like that, how do you stand out? And anybody can take that.
So from a standpoint of me, a publicist, right, I'm always behind the scenes. I am not the talent. It's actually bad if I think I'm the talent, but I like to share as much as I can on my social media networks, right? I like to do it in a way that is creative and that really speaks for the quality of work that I put out. So I do a lot of sharing when I'm at an event, or when I'm out on promo, or when I'm just working, traveling, and all that. Another thing that I do is I share the success stories of my clients. That's really what speaks the most when it comes to my line of work. I try to do that consistently, and really it's worked out for me, whereas now I'm recognized, I guess, by peers. My brand, my agency name is recognized as well. So yeah, that's why it works for me.
Okay. Anything to add? Okay.
Yeah, I'll jump in because, so Naida, as we know, she's an amazing entrepreneur, business owner. Me on my end, I work for somebody, so I have to answer to a boss, and she's looking out there. But what you want to make sure you keep in mind is, if you're working in a supportive role, you want to make sure that don't try to be a cog in the wheel. You know what I mean? Obviously, nobody wants to do more work than what they're getting paid for, but always try to find a way to make sure that you're going above and beyond, complete your work with excellence, whatever responsibilities have been endowed upon you, because that's how you have to look at it. You have a lot of people that are competing for the same position that you're in. You know what I'm saying? So never take it for granted. So whatever opportunities you've been given, whatever responsibilities come with that, you fulfill them with excellence, and then beyond that, try to see how you can be of additional value to your team, to your department, to your division, right? Because not only will that help you grow as an individual, as you try to learn, we'll recognize that as well. So it's important to keep that in mind. In the workplace, you can shine in a supporting role, and then how that translates to social media is kind of a little bit how Nair was saying. You want to showcase a little bit of your work success. So on social platforms like LinkedIn and things like that, you show proof of work, whether it was, you know, working in the sales department and you increase revenue for your company 30% year over year. You know, you want to make sure that you hide things that you directly had an impact on and was involved in, and that's how, even though you're in a supporting role, you can continue to shine and grow and let your brand expand beyond what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I think what I would add is like something I find myself telling artists a lot when it comes to like when they're asking about like what to make on TikTok, and I think it applies across the board, is to like let people into your process, let people into the behind the scenes of what's happening, how you get there, how you create the song if we're talking artists. And I think the same goes for being a professional, being in the industry. Not everybody wants to be the star or the talent. Some people want to know how you got to where you are as a person behind the scenes. So giving people a look inside of that journey and what goes into it and like what that looks like on the inside. Like you never know what nuggets people take away from that, what learnings people get from just mirroring what you're doing and how you're approaching situations. So I think the behind the scenes look, kind of what Nair talked about, is great. And then yeah, not being afraid to share the wins, I think as well, which is hard. That's something that I think most of us probably struggle with, is like you feel really uncomfortable like shouting yourself out or like noting the wins on different platforms. But it is really important to just acknowledge kind of the stepping stones along the way and to share those, because people actually do want to know like what you're doing over there in your little corporate bubble and what that's led to.
Own your work, for sure. Own your work. And just one last little thing, social media nowadays is the highlight of all this, I guess, the best part of our lives. Letting people in on your process is very essential, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, and that's the best way to build a human connection.
Facts. And so let's actually talk more through social media. Naida, this question's for you. You have a large following on social media. How did you grow your followers and engagement?
Guys, I don't know. Like, okay, this is what happened. So I think it's a mix of things, right? I think, you know, throughout the years, people just have followed me. I have worked with a ton of artists, maybe all of them by now. So, you know, sometimes they'll tag me or I'm tagging them and they're reposting, and sometimes media outlets might tag me on something, and then obviously people find me, they see what I do, and they follow me. Maybe that's one way. I did have a reel go super viral one time. I had a reel go super viral. That thing hit like 900,000 views. Again, don't ask me how. That's just the algorithm. That's a Lou question. But honestly, I'm not sure. To be honest with you guys, right now is when I'm starting to be more consistent in how I'm positioning myself out in the industry, because I have other projects that I need to align my expert level knowledge, you know, professional person with projects that are coming in the pipeline for me. But I just think, you know, I've been on it for so long, and I guess people tag me, and that's how I got there.
All right, you have fans. That's okay. You can say it. Be proud.
I just know a lot of.
And you mentioned Lou, because she works at TikTok. So working at a social media company, what have been some outstanding moments that you've seen make an impact on somebody's personal brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think we see them every day. I think there's like countless examples of people having those standout moments. And I think for me, like what I note as like the secret sauce is just people being real, people showing their other sides that people don't expect from them. And I think that there's a really magical combo that comes, and like the people that I gravitate towards that I want to follow, whether it's like artists or it's personalities or whatever, they have this combo of both aspiration and relatability. So they have something that, you know, we want to aspire to, something that makes them a star, something that makes them stand out, But more than anything, they have things that you connect to on a personal level. They have elements of their story, elements of the way that they operate in the world, their own insecurities and things that you connect to as a person, and that's always what clicks for me. So I think the moments that I've seen people really stand out is when they, and usually accidentally, kind of click and tap into that, and people find a piece of content that represents that, and they gravitate towards it.
Yeah, and just like Joel mentioned before, it's all about being authentic. It's like that's
right.
what we like, because we want to see people be humans, right?
And I wanted to add one more thing, because
Yeah.
I feel like I do have like this one key that you guys, as you're venturing out into, you know, the industry and into your professional journeys, keep this in mind. If you do want to be a public figure in your own industry, or like a standalone just public figure, right? I call it the 4 C's. Consistent content creates community. If you can do that, you've got, you know, 50% or 90% of the battle already won. It's hard to stay consistent when you're not being authentic, so make sure that you're being authentic, that you're sharing content that is true to you, and things that, you know, showcase your journey, your wins, your losses, and all that. Make sure that your content is high quality. If you're gonna post a photo, don't give me a blurry photo. We're in 2023. We have iPhones and, you know, very smart phones right now. So high quality, high res content, be consistent with it, and you'll see with time, you do need patience as well, but you'll see with time that people that resonate with you are just organically gonna gravitate towards you and follow you and support you and become, whether it's a fan or a customer or a consumer or anything like that.
Yeah, and you know, picking pictures is a really good point. And because we're on the professional side, I think sometimes we want to make sure we showcase our individuality, of course, but we want to keep it professional. So what comes to mind when you're actually being consistent and posting a lot of content? What do you guys choose?
All right, so everybody's looking at me, so I guess it's my turn. And I'm not the person to ask for real, because I rarely post. The most you're gonna see on my page is me consistently posting across my stories. I personally like to be behind the scene because, to be completely transparent with y'all, I'm very shy in general. But I think that it's very important just to kind of like read the room and be mindful of just anybody that studies marketing is gonna know your audience, know who you're trying to reach, and know also who is following you. So in a professional sense, if you have like your bosses and things following you, like make sure that whatever you're branding yourself as online aligns with the same things that they see within the workplace, you know, and that's why I said it's very important that when you are establishing your brand, you're authentic and genuine to who you are. I have the blessing of working at a very free creative company like Spotify, where everybody is all inclusive and all accepting, but it wasn't always like that, you know. I know when I first started interning, I did my first internship at Warner Music Latina back in 2016, and I would come into my internship every single day wearing a suit, you know, even though my supervisors was coming in wearing maybe some Nikes and some jeans and a sweatshirt, you know. So she actually had to sit me down one day and be like, Joel, I told you it's okay for you to dress regular. I'm like, okay, and I still came in the next day wearing a suit. So it's just kind of like, be authentic to who you are, read the room, and as you select what content is you know, you putting out there, just always realize and remember that whatever you put out there is a representation of who you are, you know. So you want to be conscious, you know, and if it's something that, if you're trying to run for the president of the United States, for example, make sure your branding aligns with that, and ask yourself, if I'm posting something, is this going to get me the job, you know? So little things to consider.
Anything you guys want to add?
Because I do feel that social media is definitely nowadays a place where, you know, employers and colleagues will find you. So like Joel was saying, it will reflect on you and on your brand and what you have to offer. It's also your own personal, if you want to, you know, post that you're out, if you have hobbies that have nothing to do with the industry, and you don't care about building a presence on the platform for yourself as as an executive or as a professional, then maybe just put it private, make sure that you guys are not allowing, you know, colleagues and your bosses on there, and do whatever you want with it. But I really do think it comes down to what your goal is. That's why I keep saying it's subjective to the goals that you guys might have and what you want to become, you know, as a professional.
Yeah, I think it's very subjective. I think that's the right way to look at it. I think you always have to have judgment in terms of what you're posting, but it's honestly been kind of like a journey for me. I remember, like, even when I started my current job, I was so nervous about like having people that I work with like following me and following them back, and I was like, well, what do I post that I just feel comfortable with? And I used to overthink it a lot and feel like really uncomfortable about it. And then I kind of got to the point where I realized that like my team is in music, and they're also out at events, and they're doing all these things, and they're showing their real life, and they're showing who they are. And like, for me personally, and it's a very personal taste, like, I just think there's so much going on social media where people are showing all the highlights and all the things, and I feel like I like to showcase just my life and who I really am, and I like seeing the same from my peers, and like having that be open and not splitting my personalities and stuff. But that is, again, a very subjective choice of like, what are you trying to do, what are you trying to build, and what image do you want to project. And so I think you really have to like check in with yourself and be very self-aware about what you want and who you are, and always have a judgment hat on, but it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, and I've seen some people have a professional, like, let's say Instagram, and then they have a private
Finsta.
one. Yeah, not even like a Finsta, but actually just kind of one for family and friends.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you'll still post content on both, like, consistently, but you're gonna have that professional side where you wanna like maybe network, and that's what you're giving out to people. And then on the flip side, I think I like to just have both, but I know, like you said, it's subjective. So talking about pictures specifically, you know, outside here we have a headshot station. Do you guys think headshots are important?
Super.
Yes. Okay. So with that, do you think there's specific headshots that should be, I mean, we're in the music industry, it's a little bit more of a creative field, right? Do you have one, for example, these are some headshots for the panel. Do you have something different that you use maybe at work or for a networking event, business card, resume?
Absolutely. I say have several to choose from so that you can match them with the occasion. You know, when it comes to me, if I'm picking to my job, for example, if I'm writing a press release about an artist, I would normally choose this one particular kind of, I don't know, photo, you know? But if this artist is now speaking at a panel for students, maybe I'm not gonna put the picture that's like, you know, something more outgoing, but I'll put something a little more serious or more welcoming, I guess, in a way. So I think you should definitely match the look and feel of your photo with whatever it is that you're gonna be using it for. So have a few, have some that are more serious for when you make it into the Billboard Latin Power Players list. Have something that's, you know, more welcoming or smiling for when you're gonna go maybe speak at a panel. Yeah, why not? Absolutely. But have a good headshot. It's so important.
Yeah, I agree. Headshots are incredibly important, and it's a very new thing for me, like, candidly. Like, I didn't have a headshot until like about a month ago, and I got this Business Insider thing, and the PR team was like, okay, you have to send them a headshot on Monday. And I was like, I don't have one. I have like a picture on my balcony. Like, I don't have anything. So I had to hit up a friend who has a creative studio, shout out to Monte Studios, but he just, you know, went out with me on a Saturday and took a headshot really fast because I needed it. And, you know, he took several different kind of like looks and locations, all in this one thing, and I've gotten so much use out of those headshots in the past month, and it made me realize like how important it is to have that handy so you're not running out and spending your entire Saturday doing that last minute. And luckily I had somebody that could do it. It's really, really handy to have that kind of just in your arsenal, have a folder. I agree with Nayira, have like different looks, have different, you know, options and stuff, but you know, also at the same time, like, we're in music, like, Let It Be You. I remember like on that shoot, I was like trying to do the whole, like, you know, the hands on hips headshot stance, and my friend, because he's like a super creative person, was like, no, like, none of that, like, just be you, let that show. And I'm very happy that he pushed me in that direction, because I think it's helpful to let your personality show in those things.
And guys, here's a hack. You don't have to go hire a photographer, get it done. Again, we have amazing phones right now. Get in good lighting, take your picture, and if your background is just not solid enough, or, you know, go to Canva, upload the photo, remove the background, and put like a gray background on it, something solid, maybe add a little texture, and then just use that as your headshot. It doesn't have to be extra, you don't have to go and get it done from a professional. You can totally do it yourself, and it'll still work just as well. I did that till the other day too.
That's good. And also, if you haven't done your headshot outside, they're doing headshots, so do it. I did it. I have one. I have a couple, but I feel like you can never get enough. Yeah, go do it. Exactly.
You could never have too many headshots.
You can never have too many.
And the last thing to that is just make sure your headshots are always up to date with your current look. Because last thing is kind of like, for example, me a year ago, sitting here, you would have seen me with curls or braids, and then now I have a clean cut, you know, so I had to make sure my headshot was updated, because the last one I had was me with my curly hair. So make sure your headshots are always up to date, because when you send something to someone and then they meet you in person, again, branding, right? You want to make sure it's consistent across the board.
Yeah, and would you say, you know, on that note of headshots, does your clothing change for headshots as far as like what you choose to wear, or like if you're doing certain events? I know you said
yes, of course.
You went every day with the suit, but
yeah,
does that change depending on what you're doing?
Yeah, it definitely changes on what I'm doing. Obviously, like for this one, I sent this one right here, but I also have a couple other headshots where I'm wearing like more, you know, kind of like chill, relaxed, urban. It all depends on the setting. Bottom line, read the room.
No, and let your personal style shine through as well. You know, you don't have to, like Joelle did, wear a suit if you just don't wear a suit. If you're more into leather jackets or bomber jackets, do that, right? But definitely have a few to choose from, because it's just important. And trust me, as you become a public figure and your branding develops and you start doing all of these, whether it's a speaking engagement or a brand collaboration or just for your deck or for your, you know, presentation, you're gonna need more than one. Like, you're gonna burn through them quickly. So don't think about it too much. Make sure you have a great smile on, make sure your hair looks good, you have good lighting, and you'll be fine.
Good, all right. Some of the platforms that people use to display their brand, like LinkedIn and a website, include areas to explain your role beyond just your basic title. In those cases, you'd have to elaborate more on your personal or professional mission statement. What type of things do you include in there, and how do you keep it consistent across platforms?
It's so hard. It's so hard. But once you get through that moment, it's amazing and it's liberating, and you sit back and you're like, oh shit, I'm pretty cool, right? So don't be afraid to write a great bio about you. Obviously include information about, you know, your journey, your professional journey, your experience. If you have had clients already, make sure you talk about them. Mission statement. I don't know if I have an actual mission statement. What I do have in my bio are the different organizations that I collaborate with and that I work for, or volunteer rather for. And I am a member of different organizations such as this one, so I put that in there as well. But yeah, I also, another trick that I use, not a trick, but I guess a trick. Another thing that I use is I use what I call these like umbrella titles in a way. So for example, in my bio, you read integrated marketing communications. And I'm sure most of you were like, what the hell is that? Or maybe a lot of you already know, but like integrated marketing communications, when I found the term, I didn't even know what it was. I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that's me. You know, so basically what it means, and to like a prospect client or like a prospect employer, they'll get it right away, you know, and it's all encompassing, and really what it means is that my agency provides a structure to our clients that unifies across the board when it comes to marketing. Now, marketing could be in the form of advertising. You do it in a unified way. So when they go and find your LinkedIn, and then when they go and, I don't know, come across the Facebook ad that you made for yourself, it all makes sense and everything is cohesive.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think in my personal experience, I have a LinkedIn, I have a resume, and I think I treat both of them fairly similarly in that I do kind of have like a mission statement that I will put on my resume, and I have a version on my LinkedIn too, but it just kind of says like, this is who I am, what I've worked in, and what I'm passionate about. I think having like a passion is really helpful. At least, like, I looked at resumes and you know, people's LinkedIns and stuff. I like to know what makes them tick. What are they doing this for? So I think something like that kind of humanizes you a little bit is helpful. And then I think when it comes to the work experience that you have or that you're showcasing, whether it's on a LinkedIn or on a resume, I think having concrete examples, quantifiable concrete examples of what you've done. So not just being like, I work on, especially, I mean, we probably all have that experience where you either introduce yourself at an industry thing or like to your family. Like my family has no idea what I do, and I've told them like a million. They do not get it. And I don't understand what's so hard. This is an example, this is an example. They get it, and it makes it so much easier for people to know who you are and what they can do with you.
That's so true.
I think it's also very important to keep in mind that the importance of it as well, because if you don't have a personal mission statement, I would kind of say that mission statement kind of makes you identify what your purpose is on a professional level, what you're trying to accomplish, right? And if you don't have one, make one, because every entity, every corporation, they have one. So if they have one, you should have one, and you want to make sure that that's there. Is, you know, I aspire to inspire, right? While making worlds connect. Just someone that's really into data and tech and things like that. So that's you can see that clear cut, you know, across my Instagram. You can see that clear cut. The same way applies to companies, it applies to us as individuals. Know your why.
Yeah, that's so good. Your why is your mission statement, and I'm pretty sure I have one on my LinkedIn too, but now so who are they? Like, I can see the pictures, but already have a pretty successful social following. How many would say they have a successful social following? Just a couple, man, raise your hand, be proud of yourself. All right.
Be proud of yourself,
yeah,
come on.
Be proud of yourself, there you go.
Come on, okay.
Thank you. Exactly. So you may be receiving requests for opportunities, right? Promoting products, maybe a collaboration with a company, or becoming a brand ambassador. Have you guys seen that? Yes? So what factors are important in determining if you should or should that opportunity?
You gotta start.
I gotta start?
That's what you do.
I say beyond the fiscal benefits, like the monetary benefits of any brand partnership, and especially because obviously we're talking about branding right now. Very important to make sure that whatever brand you decide to align with your brand, it represents all the messages that you're communicating out to your audience, right? So very simple example of that is if you're somebody that promotes clean energy and a healthy ecosystem, you don't want to, you know, I guess partner with a brand that doesn't promote that. You know, so just make sure that your brand aligns with it. I think another thing just to kind of keep in mind is just, you know, you don't want to cross over and miscommunicate to your audience by representing a product that you don't believe in or a service that you don't believe in. So most people, they do it for the money. You know, you don't want to just do it for the money, I would say. You know, most managers will hate me for that, talent managers that are out there. I'm sorry, but it's the truth though, because if it's a brand or product that you're promoting to your audience and you're saying that it works and all these things, some little kid or, you know, somewhere is gonna go buy that or invest into that product because you said so. So realize and understand the responsibility that you have as you start to grow and gain influence, you know, and be responsible with it, so.
And it could also be the beginning of an amazing strategy, right? Making sure that the brand that you want to or wants to collaborate with you and you with them, right? Making sure that that brand matches your values and the values that you've been showcasing to your audience, right? It puts you ahead because it means that your audience is already organically or automatically going to engage and be interested in. So you're almost halfway through winning the campaign because you know that you're gonna post and it's gonna have great engagement. If there's a link that people need to follow through, you know your audience is gonna do that. So that's super important. Another thing that I would suggest to you guys in the case of a brand collaboration is make sure that you have an amazing business, oh my God, I forgot the word. Like a lawyer, right? A business manager or a lawyer that can help you guarantee that you're not leaving money on the table. It's hard to know what is my brand worth. It's almost impossible. I don't know if you could speak to that, but how do you know what you're worth? You know, I've seen influencers with less than, I don't know, 100,000 followers do amazing campaigns with brands like Nike, and then I see 2-3 million follower accounts that are not getting that kind of brand visibility, right? So it comes back to your values and your consistency, and again, knowing what your brand is worth, because then it's gonna take you even longer to kind of level up from there. So having someone that can guide you with that would be crucial.
Yeah, I agree. I think like the deal aspect of it is like a really not talked about piece that is super important, and it is hard. There's not a lot of transparency, although there are some companies that are starting to try and bring more transparency to that. I think my take on like brand deals in general and brand endorsements, and it's funny because I used to work in brand deals, is that less is more. And obviously we all got to make our money, but I think if you have the luxury of being able to be a little bit judicious, you absolutely should be as judicious as possible. And I think like we live in a world that's so saturated with brand deals and influencers and all these things that it's almost like white noise to us at this point, and we don't even absorb what we're looking at. And the ones that stick out to me, the times where I, as a consumer, am actually compelled to be like, what is this brand, whatever, is because I trust the person that is endorsing it. I trust their brand, and I can recognize that they're being authentic to their own brand, that they probably actually use this product, or they have a handful of brands that they've aligned themselves with. Like they have 5 brands that I know they actually use this. They're building a deeper relationship with that brand. They're doing collaborations. Like I can tell that it's real. Then I'll trust it. Then I'll be like, this is somebody whose voice I trust, and I'm gonna actually look into this brand. But if I'm just seeing like them posting this skincare brand and then this skincare brand and then this one, and there's no consistency to it, like it's white noise to me. So I think it's important to think about your own brand as the priority and not the other people's brands who are giving you money. Think about, what is this doing for my brand? Does this dilute my brand and my authenticity and my trust with my followers?
And to add to that, here's the hack, right? In your daily content, make sure that you are sharing, how do I explain this? Like your interests, right? For example, let me give an example. If you're an avid coffee lover, showcase that, okay? Make sure that you're consistently posting about coffee. Maybe if your post is about you doing work and you have a coffee, or you're shouting out, I don't know, or you're making your favorite coffee drink, make sure that that's repeated on your feed or in your content, because then you'll be the one attracting the coffee brand that's looking for that real connection, right? If you love sneakers, don't just wear the sneaker and it just comes out. You know, make a content piece about the sneaker, or show your sneaker collection, or go shopping for sneakers, or I don't know, share your knowledge about sneakers. Do all that, because at that point, the brands are gonna come to you. They're gonna identify you as someone that is a true representation of, I guess, their brand in that sense, and you'll be able to tap into that brand money quicker, hopefully, rather than just posting random stuff and going for whatever brand approaches you just because you don't have other options. You can tailor make your content to attract the brands that go with your values and your interests.
Anything to add? No?
Good on that. The only thing I would say, definitely heed to the advice of brand integrity and trust with your audience. You don't want to mess that up.
Right, so don't lie. Be honest and be authentic, and that's so true. So we have a few questions from the audience. I think Carly's gonna pass the mic. All right, we're gonna get this question.
Hi, sorry about the delay coming up. My name's Kara Brucefin. I am currently a master's student at Frost School of Music at University of Miami, so Miami chapter. Yeah, we gotta get some claps for that. Miami chapter. All chapters are great here. It's really awesome meeting the wonderful people here. Thank you so much for speaking today. I appreciate that. The first question that I had here, it sounds like I may be reading both today, so we'll just start with the first one. How do you maintain a sense of independence between you and your brand so you don't feel burnt out and too absorbed with your branding? I know you were talking about integrity, so obviously we're not having too much independence between the branding and yourself, but it is still your brand. You're still a public figure. You may not always be posting the times when you're going to be like, I don't know, doing, watching Netflix at home. So how do you maintain that independence and not get burnt out?
I guess, in my experience, right, I would understand that question as there's me, and I have my own IG page, for example, and then my agency has an IG page, right? And it can get very tiring to kind of feed both. So if you can delegate, you know, if you've reached that point where you can get some help, do that. And the other thing that I think works for a lot of people is just trying to content batch. You know, there's so many ways to do it out there. Designate a couple of hours of the day or a couple of days a week just to make a ton of content. And when you're doing that, make sure that you are just erasing all, oh my God, what's the word? I forgot. Imposter syndrome, because if not, you're just gonna delay the process even more. So just get in it, focus, make a bunch of content and spread it out. Use a platform, Planoly or something like that. There's so many of those. But I guess that would be the only way. The thing is, you can't just push back and go cold. You know, that's the thing about content and algorithms and community. There's so much going on in the world that if you are not consistently positioning yourself in front of your audience, they're just gonna go and consume something somewhere else. So maybe make that your motivation.
Awesome, thank you so much. Oh, I saw you raising the mic as well.
Yeah. No, I was gonna add to that I think like similar to what Joelle said earlier, like I think the more authentic you are, the less exhausting it is. So like the more real you can be with it, the less it feels like a job or like a chore. And so like for me personally, I think what I'm loving about like this generation of people that are in the industry is that more and more we're showing up as our whole selves. And we're showing up as like the real version of us and not just like the glossy industry person that we like want people to think that we are. We're showing up as us in all our forms. So like, I think you shouldn't be afraid to post that you're watching Netflix. Like maybe you are, and like maybe that's real. We don't want to perpetuate this like hustle. I post it. Like we don't want to perpetuate this like hustle culture. Like I'm always grinding thing. Like sometimes it's important to acknowledge like I also rest. That's also part of me as a human. And I think like if you have the luxury of like in whatever position and whatever brand that you have, being able to be honest about that and post authentically, then it no longer feels like, oh, I have like a content calendar in my head, and it makes it less difficult to be consistent, because it is important to be consistent, but it shouldn't be exhausting.
Yeah, for sure, agreed.
Thank you. You have another question?
I think I'm reading both. It
okay,
like
perfect.
Today. But thank you so much. I love both of those answers. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you.
Oh, do we have someone? We do. Awesome.
Please introduce yourself and tell us your major.
Que lo que? I'm Matus.
Que lo que, Matus?
Que lo que? I'm an artist, creative director, and I just recently dropped out. So.
All right.
So my question is basically, how would you adjust your personal branding if you decided to pivot from your current direction?
I wouldn't.
I think that kind of, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. I think that kind of goes a little bit, it coincides with what I was saying earlier about the fact that as you grow as yourself as an individual, so will your brand evolve. So don't be afraid to show that you change as a person. You know, if your brand has transitioned from, well, you said you're a creative director, but let's say you decided to be a marketer next, right? Then showcase that. You might not get the same amount of engagement in terms of social media, right?
Yeah.
You might not get the same amount of engagement because the audience that you've built up until that point was for your creative direction, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay because at the end of the day, it's who you are. And you're being authentic to that. So continue to be authentic, continue to be honest with yourself. And if you need a pivot from it, do so, you know?
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Hey,
There
that's
you
good
go.
brand
Brand
placement.
integration.
Just do it. All right.
Anything? No? All right. Well,
Thank you.
that concludes this panel. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Lou, to Naida, and to Joelle. If you guys want to drop your Instagram handle so they can follow you, go for it.
Sure. My Instagram and my TikTok are Lou Loves with 2 underscores after.
Say that again. That was so fast.
Yeah, I have a problem with speaking quickly. My Instagram and my TikTok are Lou, L-U, Loves with 2 underscores at the end.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
You can find me as Cookie, Galletica, Cookie underscore Naira. That's how I am pretty much everywhere.
Mine is, I have to spell it out for y'all. So mine is Sachi the Don. Definitely made that when I was in college. SACCHI the Don. THEDON. You'll find it.
All right. Well, please give another round of applause to these amazing panelists. And we're going to cut for a short break now, 15-minute break. For those of you at home, we'll be back in 15 minutes. So stick around for our next panel, Make Your Mark with Guaynaa, here at the GRAMMY U Conference presented by Nike. Thank you.
Hey Grammy U, welcome back. Wasn't that brand panel amazing? I'm Daniel Ramos, and here I am with Sammy Hawk and Jorge Franco, both phenomenal artists. Now tell me guys, how was that branding panel?
It was amazing. We're learning a lot. We are independent artists, and in this specific moment of our careers, it's about like getting that knowledge, put it in practice, and being consistent. Yeah, been dropping music. For example, my friend here just dropped a song yesterday, and I'm about to drop my solo album. So it's so important to have this piece of information and you know, use it on our careers.
Yeah, amazing. As artists yourselves, how do you guys yourselves stay true to your brand and are artists yourselves?
Well, you know, basically I think right now, at the moment we are right now in the industry, people can tell when you're faking it, you know? It's not like people tell you fake it until you make it. Right now in the industry, you gotta be yourself, you gotta be real, because people is gonna notice if you're trying to be someone you're not, you know? And even with your art, not only in social media, even when you write your songs, even when you do your music, if you're just trying to talk about what everyone is talking about because it's popping, but you don't feel that, people is gonna notice.
Amazing. And do you guys have any advice for aspiring artists that are streaming and watching on the live stream right now, how they can, you know, make it in the industry and how they can be better?
I would say show your talent like this. Eso es así, G. Nuevamente siente como la partí. Sigo arrasando siempre con la fuerza de un tsunami. Aquí en Miami, representando en los Grammy. O mejor dicho, Grammy U. Espero que me patrocine los Nike Shoes. Esto es Sammy Hawk junto a Jorge Franco. Ya demostrando que yo no me estanco y arranco.
Oh, that was so sick. Thank you guys so much. And stay tuned to see the keynote speaker, Guaynaa. And be excited for Grammy U. See you soon. What's up, Grammy U? I'm back here again, Daniel Ramos, and I'm here with the amazing, talented artist and Grammy U member, Nicole Horvath, and she's here today to talk about, branding, being an artist, and everything that's going on. So, Nicole, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I am Nicole Horvath, like you said. I am a songwriter from Colombia. I just graduated from Berkeley, and you're graduating soon.
Yes, from Berkeley too. That's so exciting.
So yeah, it's been quite a journey. I moved to Miami last year, and here I am, working with some amazing musicians, songwriters. I'm releasing a song next month with Alemor.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
She's releasing an album called Beautiful Humans, and
Wow.
it's an album full of collaborations. And I wrote one of the songs on the album with her, so it's gonna be amazing. May 26th, by the way.
Yes. Reserve that, put that on the books. Now, Nicole, you also performed at the Latin Grammys. Could you tell us a little bit more about that experience and partnering with the Recording Academy to make that happen?
Yeah, that was a highlight. I got to perform with Nicky Jam at the Latin Grammys last year, and it was such a surreal experience. The moment I was about to perform, I felt the world kind of this is,
I imagine
this
it's
is
a big
about to
stage.
happen. The John Legend was front row watching me perform, and on backstage he just shook my hand and he was like, "You were amazing, John Legend."
Oh my God! Wow.
So that was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
And finally, what are you most excited about to hear from keynote speaker Guaynaa, who's about to go on?
I'm really excited to see, the way he has accomplished everything he has accomplished. And also Emily. Emily is a really, really good friend, and I enjoy the way she kind of gets information out of people. So I'm really excited about that.
Amazing. So stay tuned. Real soon, keynote speaker Guaynaa will be going on, moderated by Emily Estefan. See you there.
well, that will be nice, yeah. Oh, well, that will be nice, yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that will be nice, yeah. Yeah.
everybody. Thank you so much for your patience and your energy. And to those watching on the live stream, thank you guys so much. It's Keynote panel time. It's going to be a captivating panel. Hopefully captivating enough so you don't notice me stealing the rest of the centerpieces. I'm already up to 10. I don't think Nike's going to miss it. Thank you again to our partners over at Nike. This is a big one, folks. This is huge, and it's all about, if you see the branding, making your mark as an artist. And we have a phenomenal singer, songwriter, rapper. Guaynaa is here. He's been taking Latin music by storm over the last few years, and it's a dynamic duo because it's moderated by the wonderfully talented multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter Emily Estefan. She is wonderful. Can't wait to have the crew out here. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Emily Estefan.
Hello, everyone. How we doing? That's it? Come on. A little rowdy. Woo! We're in Miami. Come on. Hi, welcome to this amazing, amazing conversation we're about to have. My name is Emily Estefan, Miami born and bred baby, 305 in the house. That's right. I've been at this conference before, and it's super exciting. I always leave with something so beautiful, learn so many incredible things, not only from you guys, but from the person that we're going to have in this chair momentarily. So this incredible conference presented by Nike is bringing amazing artists like Guaynaa to the stage to be able to talk about a little bit about his career, a little bit about the incredible way that he is so involved in all the aspects of his career. So we're going to be talking to Guaynaa about how to make your mark as an artist in today's music industry. No big deal, right? Not hard at all. So I want to welcome everybody who's here in person. You guys look amazing. Love the Nike gear. I'm repping too. And whoever's watching on the live stream, how are you? From this pixel to you, from Miami, beaming over. So let's talk about Guaynaa. Before I read his amazing blurb, I just want to say that I'm a huge fan of him. And actually a little funny thing, which I'll tell him when he's up there, but I play drums, and my partner, Gemini, who's in the audience, she wanted to learn to play. And we were listening to Rebota by Guaynaa in the house. I have a little electric drum set. And I heard the song probably about 100, 200 times because she learned how to play drums on that song, but it never got old, and she rips that song up, so at some point we'll have to show him. But he is a Puerto Rican reggaetonero, rapper, singer, songwriter who embraces the rich history and future potential of reggaeton in urban Latin music, and that is the truth. His song Rebota, which I know perfectly well, all too well, has become a Latin music anthem with more than 500 million YouTube views as of today. Unbelievable. The name Guaynaa is a nickname given to him from his friends, meaning high class, very classy, in the Puerto Rican community. His song Maria, a song of protest about the social crisis following Hurricane Maria, is still getting thousands of views on digital platforms today. Without further ado, I'm very excited for this. Please welcome to the stage, Guaynaa! All right. ¿Cómo estás? How are you?
Very good, very excited to be here with you.
Ah, me too. I was excited until he made me do a TikTok backstage. You don't want to see me dance. It was not cute. So let's dive into it. In the beginning, I mentioned Guaynaa. Tell us a little bit about that name. Where did it come from?
Well, basically, I was in a studio recording. I did freestyles at my early beginnings with my friends. I was taking videos of myself, like rapping for 2 minutes straight, doing rhythm, or doing chorus or part of the songs with anything that is around me, you know, everything became part of my inspiration, and that way I started getting into the studios. The guys who started told me that I look like a rich guy. Guaynaa is the name of that prototype of person in Puerto Rico, because Guaynabo, it's one of the Puerto Rican cities, and it's very well known for the for rich people that live there. And I wasn't a rich person at that point of my life, but they were making fun of the way that I dressed, because I always dressed like a surfer or without shanks, without watches. So basically, I took that and I realized at that moment that there's a prototype of a Puerto Rican person, and that's part of a Puerto Rican slang. Why not? I use it for my artist name. Like, why not? It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. So at that point, I started to call myself Guaynaa, and they were like, "Oh, that's really dope, because that represents the Puerto Rican part, and people can really feel related or identified with what you're saying or what you're trying to represent." And that was the main concept that I even used to my first video and for all the videos that came after that till today, and it worked really well because it's a Puerto Rican character.
I've always noticed, I've been a fan of yours for a while, and I've noticed that a lot of your sounds and the visuals maybe typically wouldn't go together, right? And to me, I think that that's where the art and the edge, and that's where you come out. Do you feel like you ever had pressure for people while you were finding your identity? Because I know before Guaynaa, you went by another name, right?
Yes, correct.
And so we can talk about that, but what I want to know is if you ever felt pressure to put on chains and change the way you look, or is kind of rebrand yourself in your own way. Was that liberating for you? Did you ever feel any of that pressure or no?
Yeah, of course, 100%. When you were started making music and you started to get inspiration from different points that surrounds you, like culture, like friends, like trending videos, or like inspirational artists for yourself or for the type of concept that you want to develop, there's always that pressure in the back of your head. In my case, well, a lot of friends in Puerto Rico. I mean, you never seen a Puerto Rican rapper without a shank, right? So I'm the first one, I think.
There you go.
Presidente than me, but yeah, it's always been a pressure, and I think that you have to be unique. You have to be different to really shine and really make people feel related with your concept. But you have many ways to do it. In my case, I was using chains in my first name and being a rapper and like following in the pressure, my friend's pressure. And well, then I released Freestyle, and it became viral in the news without shanks, without nothing. I was working in an office. I was a clerk at data entry, and I left the work just through a freestyle. My best friend filmed me, and it went so viral. And at that moment I realized, and I was like, man, the social media is talking to me. This is what works for me. It's not what they want me. Maybe it's what they want me to be or what they like on me to represent. But at the same point, I'm just being the best version of me, because I don't like
being your authentic self.
Yeah, I don't like personally to be with chains or with watches. So at that point, I just finally decided who am I gonna be.
Amen. That's beautiful. And speaking of that, I want to talk about this because me, for example, we have a lot of incredible people who are in this music world, and I'm sure people watching who think about this as well, because I grew up, my family are musicians. They grew up in a world where social media and those kinds of things didn't exist. Everything was either polished, you kind of needed a lot of people behind you to even get things made nowadays. And now we're living in this world where you've got a studio at your fingertips. You've got a movie, movie studio in your iPhone. You can teach people about you on your social media, and I feel like it's a good thing and a bad thing. So I don't know how you feel about being a musician or being an artist and how to use social media or, that online presence of, oh, maybe one day estás en una camisa doing a freestyle, and that's what goes viral, but then, you produce this music video and maybe it doesn't get the response that you would hope that it would get. So how important is social media as a part of who you are now?
Social media is very important for us as a marketing platform, and it's really, really, really good, and I'm really glad that you talked about this, Emily, because I was having this conversation with my team yesterday. You have to understand the behavior and the work of every single platform in this industry as a musician. For an example, TikTok, Twitter, or Facebook get the potential to viralize a project, a preview, a video, not necessarily Instagram, because Instagram just show your stuff to your followers. But in this case, you have to understand who you are sending your project to. Facebook is usually, ¿cómo se dice? Personas mayores?
Oh, older people.
Like older people. Twitter,
Yeah, say that to the side.
It's the truth. My mom followed me on TikTok. Sorry, on Facebook.
I still have Facebook.
But TikTok is a platform that is very, very well known for being used by young people. Twitter, it's kind of a, well, ¿cómo se dice?
I feel like I always see my girlfriend and people on Twitter like getting news or getting, it's almost like a newspaper, and then TikTok is like the amount of incredible musicians I've learned. I don't even scroll through TikTok, but I have people send me, oh my God, look at this musician, look at this artist, and I'll learn about them on that platform. Funny story, I went to Berkeley, and I went to Berkeley with this incredible girl named Corrine, and she was always like busting it and you know, posting and doing her thing, but reinventing herself, you know, like you, like first she looked one way, then she looked a different way, whatnot, but she always just posted because she loves to do it and whatever. Turns out, she's actually Karuk. She's a girl right now that's doing the If I Were a Fish, the fish song. I don't know if you guys have heard it. I've, again, heard it 3,000 times because my girlfriend has had it on a loop. Thank you, baby. But it's a great song, and she's getting a lot of recognition in articles in Rolling Stone, and it's able to boost you up, and then you need to use that to continue to, you know, bust your projects and show your stuff. I mean, please, I went to school with Lele. I would hear bangs, and it would be her running into the lockers, recording her vines. I mean, really, she was committed at like 15, 16, and look at her now. She's ripping it up. So it's definitely a tool.
Yep.
Okay, speaking of brand, social media is a big place that you can display your band and build your brand. But what about the concepts lyrically and musically of your brand? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you impact the lyrics? Do you feel like you're thinking of, you know, situations and writing around them? Do you have your own sound, your own vocabulary?
Yes, in my case, my colors or my space to create is very wide. Like I can create related about the first concept that everybody knew or met Guaynaa for the first time, that it was that reggaeton for the club, but then being like kind of funny at the same time. And for the other side, I've been working on alternative projects, a couple of ballads, cumbia, salsa, a couple of fusions, and that's what I found is interesting. You're not locked into a wall, you know. When you're coming out, when you're starting to be successful, people always gonna try to compare you or stick your concept with another one that came in the past. For an example, they told me a lot, you look like Residente. I was like, yeah, he is and he was an inspiration for me, of course. A couple of things are gonna sound like him, or like Julio Voltio, or like Tego Calderon, because that was people that really inspired me at some point of my life when I was growing up. But it's very important for you to be comfortable with what you do. In my case, I love to do everything that come under my concept, that is like put people to dance or put people to be happy or enjoying the concept. So that's what I like about my work. Like I can do a lot of things at the same time. I love to do more alternative projects because it takes me more time to compose. I have to do kind of a certain studies around the concept, around the thing that we're going to talk about in the song. Well, but that's another part, and it's not necessarily the mainstream one. You guys have to have that clear in your mind where you are driving to and what that's going to bring to your pocket if you're going to do an alternative career It's gonna be tough, it's gonna be harder, but you're gonna stay a long more time in this industry because people that are fans of this type of projects stays together, sticks to the artist.
I was about to ask you that because, for example, I know that I studied jazz. Jazz is in my heart. It's always going to be, my main thing. But when I make music and I perform and I create, I'm always like evoking a kind of feeling or having high energy or this or that. So another thing I've noticed is, like, for example, if people know you to, be writing this kind of music or releasing this kind of music, as musicians, we always feel like, but wait, now I want to do a rock opera in Swedish, and now I want to do a ballad, and why not? And I'm the first person to be like, you have to create and make you happy, but also, how do you feel about if you are creative and you're moving through emotions like that, what about the people who are listening to you? Do you listen to what they say when they get angry? Do you let it flow? Do you not care?
You mean the
like
fans?
if you release a ballad and somebody's like, hello, I want to, move my butt. Like, and you're like, what do you mean? I want to sing. That was good. See, I almost caught myself. I'm not cursing, Grammy U, I promise. But yeah, that's what I mean. How do you deal with the backlash when you're just following your path as an artist?
I mean, that's the most, one of the difficult things of starting a career, What I was saying to you guys, all the past questions, people try to stick you in a wall and tell you, you look like this guy, or you sound like this guy, or you are like this guy. And that take a while for you to show the world who you are, what you love to do, and what's your main concept, or how many type of rhythms or genres you are able to do and really kill it and smash it and sound like you're on top of it. It takes a while. It takes a lot of shots. It takes a lot of at-bats to swing and hit the ball. So in that type of situations, you just have to keep working and don't put the weight on the negative things. So don't put your energy there. Just keep focus on your finish line. And you're going to be able to pass over it and show the world who you really want to be.
If I asked you right now to be on a song with me and I promised you that it was going to be amazing, but you hated the song, would you do it?
If I hate a song?
Yeah.
If we're doing an album, because it happens to me. It happens to me right now. I did an album with my wife.
I heard, yeah.
We released the album yesterday. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, applause.
Thank you for the claps. And I was like, I hate this song. And the label and the management team that was like, no, but that's a single. And I was like, oh, so I have to do press on it too. And they were like, yeah, this is the single. And I was like, okay, but I hate it. I don't like it. And then we came together, we did a meeting, and we were like, listen, this is the song that represents the combination. So you have to be able to give. It's not all about you, especially if you're doing a concept with two people, with two artists.
That's a great segue, because I did see that interview where you were like, her favorites are my least favorites, and
guys, that when you record songs, references, you put the names on the computer, whatever it came to you in the mind, like, I don't know, the sound of the chorus or whatever, that's how you save it for the first time till you find out the title, the final title of the song. So the song was saved, the song that Guaynaa hates. That was the reference name.
Past 3. That's amazing. Okay, so on that note of working with other people, because you seem to be somebody who does have your hands in everything.
But listen, music, sorry for interrupting you, music is so wonderful that even the song that you have less faith on it, it becomes your biggest hit. My song Rebota, it was my biggest my first and one of the biggest hits that I ever had in my career. I did the video with $700.
Wow.
You can see the shadow of the guy filming.
That's raw though. I like that.
It was a beautiful mess, but it happened. I've been talking, for an example, to my wife's uncle, and he told me, for an example, Tiempo de Vals, he released that song, and it was like a soft release, and it became one of the biggest hits of his career. So you never know what song the crowd is gonna support, even if your algorithm is low, because we're talking about algorithm now in these days, because it's what is used to kind of dictate to you what song is gonna be a hit or what song is not. Even if the algorithm is low, if the people grab it, or if one guy in TikTok, or if one granny in Facebook, not just kidding.
I don't know. You're thinking about
Do
the
the
grannies on
dance?
Facebook a lot.
It's gonna go viral, and people are gonna support it. So you have to release every single song with the same faith that it's gonna be a hit, and put the energy on it. Because at the end of the day, where you're living in this world, by every single song, it's your legacy. So it have to be very good.
That's great advice, guys, honestly. He's speaking truth. Okay, speaking of Rebota, you did a remix of that song at some point, and you
Yes.
collaborated, right? How was the process for you about letting other people change that vision already and touch something that was already perfect, right?
That was really hard. I was talking about that in an interview that I did in Spain like a month ago, and I felt a lot of pressure because this guy came out of nowhere. This guy released a song. He's a Puerto Rican guy, Puerto Rican, the reggaeton hometown. Everybody wanted to do the remix because every single veteran at that moment wanted to be in the fresh.
They wanted a
song.
piece of the pie.
Because that's how you stay relevant. You do music or collaborations with the artists that are growing up, and that's how you, as a veteran, stay sounding in the phones or in the devices of the young people like you. So I received a lot of pressure from the veterans, like, listen, I want to do the remix with you, but just me. I was like, why? You think that I'm gonna say no to this guy or to the other one? I was selling cell phones last week. How I'm gonna say no to? I don't want to say names, but to the biggest guy in that label, to the biggest guy in the other label, to the guy that just won 5 Grammys. They wanted to be on the remix too. So it was a lot of complications in the process. At the end, the guys that wanted to be alone never made it, but the guys that really love it, to do it for the culture, were able to make it there. Like Farruko, Nicky Jam, Becky G, Sets, they were like, listen, I'm sold out. I don't care who's there. We have to kill it, because that's a song that really deserve it to be in our platforms too, and let's do it for the culture. So what I can advise to you guys is, like, you have to know your industry really well. Every single person, every single artist, every single producer, every single mixer, master, engineer, every single label have a role in this industry, in this life. In your project is gonna work different. If I'm signed to Sony, and she's signed to Universal, or you're signed to Warner, it doesn't mean that it's gonna work better for you or me. What's your type of project? Well, then you need a label that works in those type of projects. If you are indie, well, you need an indie label to work on it. If you're doing reggaeton, you need to get a reggaeton producer. If you want to work, I don't know, a personal tour, like you like it to do really, ¿cómo se dice? Like really close in little theaters, well, then you have another.
More intimate, yeah.
Yeah, more intimate. Then you have to look for a company, a booking company that work those type of events, and that's how you develop your career. In this case with Rebota, well, I did it with the people that I thought at that moment that really love the reggaeton culture. People like Farruko, DJ Nelson. Those are people that have been here for 20, 25 years. Farruko for 10, 15 years. And it's because they just love to do it. They just love to play. They just love to do music. And I recommend you guys to get surrounded by that type of people.
Yeah. The people that you surround yourself with is so important. I feel like not only in your business and your day-to-day life, and especially when you start growing in this, and you have to have people who are around you all the time, your producers, your engineers, your managers, these people that are around you, like, the more that you all love and respect and align with one another, everybody just goes up. The energy goes up. You can feel it in your work. You can hear it in your music. But I just love that you're in the center of all of it and that you're also, I feel like, very mindful of these things. You know what I mean? Like who you decide to collab with, what kinds of things you release. Everything to me sounds, and looks, which I want to go to the visual before we have to end this chat. I could talk to you all night. But they probably want to go home. I want to know, when it goes to the music video component of thing, the visual, social media can be a little more informal, yes. How about now, what's representing your music? I know that you either direct or co-direct almost everything you do, right?
Yep, correct.
So how important are visuals to you? You know, is it important that you feel good? Are you looking at the camera angles? Are you storyboarding? I saw you on a horse. What's going on? Tell me.
Well, music, it's a vehicle that is driving to certain direction. There's three things that have to be in the same vehicle and on the way to the same direction. The rhythm, the composition of the letters, of the chorus, verse, whatever, and the visuals. This is very important because now we're going to talk about another side of marketing, another side of placement. For an example, Se Te Nota became really huge because TikTok and because of Facebook. Facebook was really, really important for Se Te Nota to blow up. If you say, I want to be a gothic woman, I like the gothic concept. Okay, I'm signed to this manager, I'm signed to this label, and the label is going to pay for the video, and the video is going to be directed by Juanito or Joseph or Stephanie. But you just do the composition of the music or talk a little bit about with the producer, like, hey, listen, I put down the snare or take off the drums or whatever, and you leave the responsibility of the visuals. You are a gothic concept, so you have to look like a gothic concept. You can't let that be a responsibility of another person. Like a third person can't make you look like how you want. So that's why a lot of people look the same right now on media. You know, that's why it's very difficult to look. You see people with a different haircut or even different dressing style, because most of us, we deliver that responsibility in another people's hands. Because that's what they're looking, that's what they've been doing for 5 years. So it's very important for me, for you to be able to decide where your visuals are gonna go. Because that's going to be another part of how you're going to be in the future and how people is going to look at you.
Yeah, I personally, I used to perform, and I was all about just really focusing on the music, to the point sometimes where I would not even connect to the audience, look down and be really shy, because my relationship with music was turned so inward, before I really started to become an artist. And performing started to help me feel a little bit more confident, but I never dressed the part, and I didn't really know how to do so, and I never was really concerned about the visual. And then my partner, Gemini, came into the picture, and with, obviously it's you work with your wife, so I'm sure she knows you in a way. She probably knows who you are at your core. And so I completely trusted, I put myself in her hands, and she just created this visual component to me that made me feel even more who I was, but I never would have been able to do it by myself. And I think there's very few people that, you can trust with things like that to rebrand you.
Or people that knows you really well for you to release that responsibility.
Yeah. Oh yes. And yeah, but visuals are a big thing, and then it transfers to many different mediums, because I don't know about you, but when you...
For an example, this guy called Lil Dicky, he's a genius.
Who?
His video concepts, Lil Dicky.
Oh, Lil Dicky, yes.
I love his videos. He's really innovative.
Have you seen Tommy Cash videos?
Yes.
Oof, that, guys, go look up Tommy Cash.
So what I'm telling you guys, right now you're having a blank paper with a pen in your hands. With this knowledge that we're telling you of being top of the music side of the composition of the music, being in top of the side of the composition of the wording of the letter, of the poetry, and being top of the visuals, you're gonna be able to fill that blank page in the way that you want. Whatever you wanna be for your career, we are giving you guys the key to make it happen.
Woo! I want a Guaynaa TED Talk. Okay, speaking of that, what is on your blank page for the foreseeable future? What is next for Guaynaa? Do you have any new projects, any new goals, aspirations? Is there a country album in the works?
I would love to, but I think to practice a little bit more my English. Well, in my case, I think that I'm always being an open book with the crowd, with the people, with the industry, and thank you to the Academy and to every single part of this music industry for the space to show who I want to be or who I am. I'm always going to stay in the same lane. I want to do reggaeton, and then I'm going to do alternative and another kind of project. We have to understand that we are in a world of algorithm that people need reggaeton, platforms need reggaeton. In my case, it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable because I like to do reggaeton too. You know, I'm not doing reggaeton because I'm feeling forced, or I'm not doing alternative music because I'm feeling forced. Anything that I do, or everything that I do, is because I love to do it. In my case scenario, we have like two different types coexisting in the same spot. Like I have the angel and the devil. But that's just what I love to do because I grew up with Ricardo Arjona, Montaner, Chayanne, with my mom, Rubén Blades, and then for the other side, Celia Cruz, Peter Conde Rodriguez, Héctor Lavoe, salsa singers, Valed. My brother was heavy metal. I had a lot of stuff in my mind, a lot of inspiration, and I think that I'm gonna keep on a path. I'm gonna keep going on the path of making reggaeton and making alternative music and making those two different worlds coexisting in the same spot. That is my platform.
I love that. I'm going to convince him in a year we're going to do a country song together. It could be like a salsa country. It could have some sandunga.
It could be.
Yeah, we'll invent a genre. Well, my portion, unfortunately, is done, but I have some really good news. We have a little bit of time for a couple of questions from anybody out there. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions. Don't miss this opportunity. He's got great things up in that brain. Oh, yeah.
Hola.
Hola.
My name is Grecia. So my question is, we've been talking a lot about people putting you in a box and imitating or saying like you sound like this person. So like when you hear a song like yours that someone else did, do you think that's a sign that you've made your mark with your music?
She's talking to you. Ain't nobody copying me. Ain't nobody want to copy me.
Yes, it's a good sign. It means that you're being inspiration for other people. It means, in my case, for an example, that's another tip that I can give you guys. When I did Rebota, the urban genre was all moved into trap. So I identified a necessity, and the way to fill it with the rhythm was the old school reggaeton. People wanted it. People were maybe tired because the ear is a muscle and I get tired still. It's like you go to the gym and you do bicep the whole week, it's gonna get tired. So in that case, when I released that song, a lot of people started to do reggaeton again, like trying to do old school reggaeton. And for me, it was good at some point. People tells you, oh my God, look at this guy doing something looking like you, or look at this girl doing something looking like you. But you have to understand that is more than a privilege for you to change the path of the music, even if it's a simple genre, even if it's a simple artist, a simple person that is looking at you and you're serving them as an inspiration. You're doing your work in this world, and whatever you went to school or to the university to study, it worked at the end of the day, because we're here to serve to, not just to serve to ourselves, to serve to other people. So answering your questions, yeah, I saw it in a positive way, and I love to be able to keep inspiring people.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, I think we have time for maybe one or two more. Nobody's telling me no, so I'm just gonna do my thing up here.
I'm gonna ask you something if nobody do it.
Ooh. Ask me whatever you want, as long as it's not to do another TikTok.
True.
Clearly, I'm not listening to the. What I should be is making more TikToks. All right, you have a question for us?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Anabela. I'm from Venezuela, so say hi to Lele. So my question is, after getting some traction, what are some tips to maintain the momentum?
Tips to maintain the momentum is working hard. One of the beautiful things that the music gives to me, and I'm really grateful and blessed for that, is to be able to know the world, to know cultures, to discover sounds, discover smells or tastes. One day I went to Brazil to do a song with a big artist there that is called Wesley Safadão, and it was in the north part of Brazil, Fortaleza. We did a song, and I was looking at his Instagram, because he just called me, hey, listen, I want to do a song with you, just fly to Brazil. I was like, what? I'm going to go to Brazil, but what happened? You know me, I know you, like, is this like a real guy? No, yeah, this is Wesley Safadão, I will do a feature with you. So long short story, I was asking him, hey, listen, you in your Instagram page, you have this image with a perfect family, right? Your wife, your kids, and everything. What's the chemistry? How you do for being touring and everything? And he was like, he told me there's times to stay quiet, stay in your house with your family, but as soon as you have your first hit, it's time to go off and leave everything. In his case, he released a song, became really viral. He was like 1.5 years or 2 years just touring, and collecting everything that he was able to, and releasing a lot of music, releasing tons. For us, for an example, right now, we're releasing a song from, ¿cómo se dice? Un mes y medio después de
a
otro.
month and a half.
Month and a half. And then we release a song, and then next month and a half, we release another one. But if you hit it, like if you make the real hit with the song, it's time to go off. It's time to work hard. It's time to do big collaborations. It's time to do press. It's time to be in the award show. Like the work got doubled or tripled, because that's the fastest way to stay in the top of the relevance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, we have one more question. What? She said, well, that face meant like one or two. 1, 2.
So,
okay.
What advice could you give to like brand new artists who don't know kind of like where to start? They have a burning passion to really make this like a career and to like go long with it. What advice do you have for new artists in terms of where to get started and also how to get out of their own way?
How to what?
How to get out of their own way.
How to get out of their own way, like stop being your own worst enemy.
Like where do you get started and how do you get out of your own way?
All right. First of all, you have to realize that there's a giant crowd out there that don't know about you. And when I'm saying don't know about you, they doesn't know about me either, because my market demographic is most of them Latin side, So with that in mind, you take away you being your own enemy or your complex or whatever is in your head, thinking that you're doing the worst and people is laughing about you or people is going to laugh about you. People are living their lives. So how are you going to get out there and telling them, hey, listen, this is me and I do good music. Listen to me or come and play my Spotify or whatever. you have to understand how you're gonna market your product. First of all, you have to develop a good product, but I'm pretty sure that most of you guys here, or all of you guys here, are able to do or create a good product. And second, you have to understand the platforms. Is very important, what I was telling you guys. If you're gonna do a ballad, for an example, if you're gonna do rock, if you're gonna do country, you understanding the platforms, you're gonna know how you're gonna drive the market, how you're gonna post it, or what type of content you're gonna create to post it in every single platform. If you're gonna do a ballad, it have a lot of potential on Facebook, because Facebook have that type of crowd that consume it. If you're gonna do a reggaeton, like if you're gonna do something funny, post it on TikTok. If you're gonna do something social, something that is gonna talk about humanity or political issues or Black Lives Matter or how Latins need to be on the loop here in the United States, post it on Twitter. Because Twitter have a lot of people tweeting the whole day, a lot of people criticizing the world or the situations. So you have to understand what places you're able to post it and what type of concept had every single place. When you have that under control in your mind, you're gonna understand how you're gonna drive the marketing of your song, and there you're gonna have more probability to reach more people. So basically what I'm telling you guys here is to understand your game and your possibilities.
Yeah, you know what else? I don't know if you agree. There's so many beautiful things that we can do in this industry, and sometimes, you know, like it's a lot of pressure when you have that burning inside of you, like you want to be an artist, you want to sing, you want to play, like depending on what you like to do. But some of the most passionate people that I know are songwriters, or they started that way, and maybe, you know, instead of right away trying to, you know, start from nowhere and all of a sudden have a brand, it's like, let me see if I like writing, let me see if I like singing, let me see if I could put them together, you know, like experiment inside of the world. I have a lot of friends that have found really interesting pockets of the industry, kind of like testing like that. Unfortunately, we all want to get paid, am I right? So,
of course.
You know, hopefully, I hope that we can see a world where we can find new and interesting ways to monetize. And I think that what you're saying, what you've said today, which is super important for all of us to hear, is that I'm the first person to be like, oh, but I don't want to be on social media all the time. And it's like, right, but when my parents were hustling and on a press tour and, you know, doing videos like that or 12 hours of interviews, if they had the, you know, the platform to be able to upload that online and help that build their business, they would just look at it like part of the job, you know. And unfortunately, depending on what we do, I feel like it's important. And it's also a really cool way to get to know people depending what you're putting online. I feel like you're still very authentic in your social media presence, and it doesn't feel forced, but it still feels like it represents you really well and like it's polished. So getting to know, you know, how to use those things is super important too. Start singing one time a night con tu camarita, you know, before you go to bed. You never know. You know, 2 weeks later, you could have 200 more people listening to you.
Exactly. And another thing that's very important, don't do songs thinking that are going to go viral on TikTok or how it's going to be the dance. Just figure it out your stuff, everything that comes out of your heart, and then sit down and think about how you're going to market it. Because if not, the concept is going to be damaged. If you're doing an album and the album have a title, you have to develop all the album songs in the same type of concept for people to sit down and listen to your album, listen to your project, and really, really enjoy it, and for you to make it interesting and make it like, ¿cómo se dice? Tener sentido, having sense.
Oh yeah, that it flows, like that it has a common sense within the whole album.
It's very important to take away that thought of let's make a song to break TikTok and make a trend of the dance, because that does not make part of the creative process.
All right, so I just have one more question, because I know you like to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that not a lot of people have maintained that art, and that's actually one of my goals this year, to really start reading again, because I feel like I was a way better person when I did. But if you had one book that you could suggest to a young person to read that maybe like impacted you a lot,
In the music industry,
could be any book, because
any book. There's one.
Something that you think
there's
would
one
be good.
called. Can I say it? I'm not gonna get like.
they say I know.
There's one. I'm very. I believe in the energy and the spiritual world. There's one called Becoming Supernatural, or Supernatural from Joe Dispenza. For me, it's very good because it's like the energetic Bible, in my opinion. That way you understand how people vibrate, and even the voice when you're singing. Every single voice that comes out of your mouth have a different type of
course, a vibration, a frequency.
Of vibration and frequency.
Right.
So for understand everything, how you connect with people, how you connect with sounds. I just highly recommend you guys this book. It's another different way of understanding life.
Thank you. Well, listen, I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you today. I think you're a very, very incredible human being, an awesome musician, and I think we all learned something here today. Am I right? So please give it up one more time for Guaynaa. And before we end this party, I want to first say thank you again to Nike, thank you to the Academy, thank you to Grammy U. We love you, and everything you do is really making the future better. So we love you, and I want to invite back on stage, please, Mike Ryan Ruiz, to close off this party. We're going to do a TikTok together. No. Come on,
One loud round of applause for Guaynaa and Emily. Incredible stuff, everybody. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Really
you.
insightful stuff over there. I mean, some real pull yourself up by your bootstraps type stuff, and to be able to know that you've realized that you've made it, but continue to push hard is a life lesson that I think we'll all take away. I want to give a big thank you to all the hardworking people that put this event together, Jesse Allen, and all the wonderful team members. It was a great event. Thank you so much to Nike for bringing this GRAMMY U Conference to us. Thank you for watching on the live stream, and for you guys over here attending this event. Your energy was excellent throughout the day. Thank you guys so much. Once again, big shout out to Nike. We'll see you next time.
Woohoo!
Michi-sans, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Perfecto. Hey Grammy U, it's Daniel Ramos here, and what an amazing conference we had today. Here I am with the incredible artist Michi-sans, who's here enjoying the conference, talking, getting to meet everyone. Now Michi, what was the favorite part about the conference today?
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. My favorite part of the conference is the songwriter, la parte de compositores. It's so amazing because I'm songwriter too. Aprender de estas grandes mujeres en la industria es amazing.
Yeah, to learn from all those amazing women was absolutely phenomenal. Now, you mentioned that you're a songwriter and an artist yourself. Tell us a little bit more about, how you're making your mark as an artist.
Yeah, well, right now I'm working my own songs. Estoy componiendo también para otros artistas. Justo acaba de salir mi nueva canción, Indirectas, es a pop rock. Just follow me on the social media para que estén pendientes de todo lo que se viene.
Yeah, what's your social media? So, canales de social.
Yeah, of course. My social media is @Michi-sans_music in all social medias. Too.
Amazing. Thank you so much to everyone watching on the live streams. We'll see you next year.
will be nice, yeah.